Okay, so we already have our attendees in the room. Hi, good morning, Emmanuel. I see Emmanuel. Good morning. If you can hear me, good morning. Good morning to you. As you join in, please let me know your name. As you already know, that's what we do here. Let me know your name and where you're joining in from. For example, my name is Tara and I'm joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. Let me meet you in the chat box. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to the grand finale of Soft Skills Training, the 9th edition. Good morning. I see Felix has joined. Felix Ashemota. Good morning, Felix. Let's see in the chat box. Good morning, Emmanuel from Lagos. Is it Tekla? Yeah, Tekla from Kenya. So good to have you, Tekla. All right, let's see that. Let's see it. Keep coming in. Invite your friends. Remind your friends that we're about to begin. Olusegun from Lagos. You're welcome, Olusegun. Go to all your social media platforms. Remind all your friends and your foes that we're about to begin. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere that you can. Remind them that we're about to start. Good morning. I see Julius Bauer. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're welcome. See Tony, Abulwari, Ayodosu. I see you, Felix, Chuku, Godson. Good morning. Let me see where you're joining in from in the chat box. Please begin to post across all your social media platforms. Remind your friends, call them if you can. Tell them we're about to start. We're not waiting for anybody. We're not waiting today at all. We're not delaying. Okay, I see Somto. I see Esther. Okay, that's okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see Tony from Lagos. You're welcome, Tony. There's a gift for anybody that invites so many people. Don't forget about my giveaway. Good morning. I see Lawrence from Abuja. Okay. It's time to tell your friends, to tell their own friends that we're about to begin. It's about to go down. That's what they say. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, good morning. Begin to remind your friends, call them if you can. Tell them we're about to start. And we're starting in another 5 minutes. Tell them we're about to start. Tell them, call them. This is not a session they have to miss. They can't afford to miss the sessions. Let's meet you in the chat box. Let me know where you're joining in from. Your name, where you're joining in from. Olusegun, I've seen you, Olusegun, from Lagos. Good morning. Ali Ibrahim from Abuja. Good morning, Ali Ibrahim. Good morning. Yeah, super excited to be here. Good morning. Good morning. Tell your friends to tell another friend and another friend, even their foes. It's about time that we begin. Good morning. If you were here in the yesterday session, let me see in the comment section what your experience was like in a word. Your experience. Your experience in a word, for me, it was mind-blowing. I enjoyed the sessions. I see Eniafe from Ondo State. Yeah, I see you, Eniafe. You were here yesterday. I see Christiana. It's good to be back here, Christiana. Good morning. In one word, let's see your experience from yesterday's session in the chat box. It was exciting. Okay. You're just joining today, Eniafe. Oh, it was mind transforming. Yes, I agree with you, Christiana. And Yafe, tell your friend and another friend to join because we're about to begin. It's about to go down. Call them if possible. Call them. Good morning. I see people joining in already. Okay, I see Julius Bauer. Good morning. Olusegun Ayo. Good morning. Let's meet you in the chat box. Let's see where you're from, where you're joining in from. For example, my name is Tara and I'm joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's see you. Let's see where you're joining in from the chat box. Good morning, Chuku. Good morning, Temitayo. Okay, I see that Israel has joined. I see Madam Jamila has joined. It's so good to have you here again. Good morning. Esther joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, Esther. It's so good to have you here again. Good morning. Olayinka said, yes, I agree with you, Olayinka. It was quite impactful. It was quite inspiring. Let's meet you in the chat box. Good morning. Let me know where you're joining in from. As we're about to begin, we're with your friends. We don't want to start without them. So call them, remind them, post across all social media platforms, and tell them that we're about to start. I see Abu Basma from Katina. Abu Basma. from Katsina. It's raining here in Abuja. Oh, I don't even know if it's raining in Lagos because I'm in the office, so I don't know. I have to check. Good morning, guys. Joseph Clement from Lafia. You're welcome, Joseph. Tell your friends, tell your foes that it's about time that we begin. I see one from read one. Ella, good morning. I see Joseph Uwanko. Good morning, Joseph Uwanko. Don't forget we have a giveaway for you. We have gifts. So tell your friends, tell your hosts that we're about to begin. Let the numbers increase. The person with the highest, the person who brings the highest person gets to win, gets to be our winner for all the things that we have in store for you. And trust me, we have a lot of goodies in store for you. I am Joseph. Joseph from Abuja. You're welcome, Joseph. Ali Ibrahim, have you told your friends to join? You may be the winner of our giveaway. Okay, I see that you have told your friends. Tell your friend to tell another friend. I see Ekene Susan. You're welcome, Ekene Susan. Good morning. Let's meet you. Let's know where you're joining in from. And if you were part of the yesterday session, let's know in a word your experience from yesterday's session. Okay, we're about to begin now. Olayinka, you're welcome. He says, I'm glad to be part of this training. He's from Lagos. Olayinka, it's so good to have you here. I see Thomas Jonathan from Lagos. It's so good to have you here, Thomas Jonathan. I see Ghaniyat from Lagos. Good morning. Good morning, Ghaniyat. Good morning. All right, we're about to start now. And yesterday, we had two volunteers for the quality moment and the safety moment. I hope the quality moment volunteer and the safety moment volunteer are here. And you know that it is in the culture of Construction Kaiser Limited and M&E Kaiser Limited to always begin every meeting with quality moment and safety moment. So we're going to be taking the quality moment by Ali Ibrahim. Ali Ibrahim, if you are here, let me see your hand. And then the safety moment will be taken by Bethel. Quality moment, safety moment. Ali Ibrahim, if you are in already, let me see you. If you can hear me, Ali Ibrahim. Is Ali Ibrahim here? Yes. All right. Let's just begin. We're beginning with the quality moment and the safety moment. And Ali Ibrahim will be taking the quality moment. Over to you now, Ali Ibrahim. Thank you. Please, can the host help unmute Ali Ibrahim for his quality moment, please? Thank you. Is Ali Ibrahim there? Or let's just take Bethel for the safety moment first, and then after that, we have Ali Ibrahim for the quality moment. Thank you so much. Bethel, over to you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Ali Ibrahim. I don't know, maybe you can hear me over there.
Yes, Ali Ibrahim, we can hear you. You can take the quality moment.
I'm so honored and being glad to be here for today's session. My name is Ali Ibrahim. I'm privileged to talk on the quality moments. When we talk about quality, we always go extra mile to make sure that the three angles of costs, material, and schedule are being integrated together to form a good, efficient, and performing activities within an operation. That is to say, in a nutshell, to say that we make the integration of three components of components in adhering to the quality that we give to our clients. So in this aspect, we can just say that quality is talking about having the well ratio mixed of different elements put in place for efficient performance. Thank you.
We can no longer hear you, Ali Ibrahim. Are you still there? Please confirm you can hear Ali Ibrahim, please.
No.
Okay.
No, we can't.
All right, let's just take Bethel quickly. Bethel, let's have you for your safety moment.
Okay, good morning. This morning I'll be talking about my safety moment would be about getting back home early, safety on the road and safety at home. So currently there is a rampage. There is a rampage of you hear kidnapping issues and you hear issues of people being robbed, probably early in the morning while going to work or late at night while coming back from work. So it will be advised that you should try to return home early when people are still observant of what is happening in the environment to avoid being attacked by robbers or being a victim of kidnappers. So that would be my safety moment.
All right, thank you so much for that concise safety moment, Bethel. And thank you so much, Ali Ibrahim, for the quality moment. I welcome you all to the grand finale of the ninth edition of KFSD Soft Skills Training. And as you all know, this is like the best of the best soft skills training that you would ever think about. And this soft skills training, of course, is powered by Kaiser Foundation for Social Development, which is the corporate social responsibility of Construction Kaiser Limited and M&E Kaiser Limited. And I would quickly like to recognize the attendance of the founder of Kaiser Foundation for Social Development, who is also the CEO of Construction Kaiser Limited, in person of Engineer Igwan Okaisabo. We also have in attendance the managing director and a trustee of the managing director of M&E Kaiser Limited and a trustee at Kaiser Foundation for Social Development, in person of Madam Jamila Fani. Thank you so much for being in attendance, IG and Madam Jamila. All right, without further ado, my name is Omotara Akinremi, but feel free to call me Tara anytime, any day. I'm your host for today, and co-hosting with me is Bethel Madu. And then to quickly continue with today's session, we have the first session for today. And the first session for today is a panel discussion. And the panel discussion is all centered around the future ready path, and to moderate the future ready path panel discussion, we have Peace and Chinon. So Peace and Chinon, so are you there? Over to you now.
Definitely, Tara. Good morning, everyone. And I'm so excited to be here once more today. My name is Peace, and today we are diving into soft skills, the future ready path. I have alongside me Chinonso. Hi, Nonso.
Hi, Peace. Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's so exciting to be here again, after so long.
True.
Yeah.
So, Nonso, is this your first soft skills? Although I know the answer to that.
Absolutely not. So this is my sixth soft skill. Actually, I'm
Ooh.
quite delighted to be here. I always look forward to coming in every year, generally to kind of learn something new. I actually was excited to even find out that this year you had one of my best speakers on, who is in the name of David Dotun. Actually, he actually was one of the people who actually helped me come through in terms of public speaking. So I'm glad, I'm really happy that you guys had the opportunity to learn from him as well.
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited to be here again. So yeah, thank you so much. And please, how about yourself? I know this is
Okay,
not your
so
first rodeo, so tell me,
no,
what
no,
is
it's
this?
not.
What number is this?
This is my number 5. I've not gotten to 6 yet, but I'm sure that it's going to be. I'll be joining every year because every year I join, it's always I always have different aha moments, paradigm shifts, and it's always been like that. And this year's is not going to be different. I'm sure.
Amazing. And I'd just like to say thank you as well to Kaiser Foundation for making this possible
And
every year.
I
I learn.
I like the fact that this panel is all.
Sorry, it's just
Hello,
me or
Nonso, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
okay? Yeah, perfect. I can.
Okay. Hello, Nonso, you can go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you, a big thank you to Kaiser Foundation for making this possible. Generally, it's amazing that they've done this for 9 years and they just keep doing this as well. Generally, it's an opportunity for all of us to learn how to be better in work and just in everything that we do as well. Even as leaders of tomorrow. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity, even to be here, and to even be co-hosting this panel today. So I'm quite excited about that. Moderating rather this panel today. And I'm looking forward to all the panelists we have today. I'm hoping that they could turn on their cameras if they are present, so we can actually give a brief introduction to them and just kind of see, what they're up to today. I can see Amarachi has joined us. Hello.
All right. How about Splendor? Splendor, are you on? Can you put on your camera? One thing I realize is that our panel today is all young people. And I think this is the first time since I've been joining the soft skill training that we have all young people panel. So I'm excited to pick their brains and see what they have for us, and learn from them as well.
Oh,
All
I
right.
think
How
Israel
about
has also
Splendor?
joined. Hello. Hi,
Great.
Israel. How are you doing today?
Okay. And Splendor, I've not seen Splendor yet.
Amazing. Spender's here as well.
Okay, great then. Great then. Okay. All right. So let me introduce Splendor because I kind of like the fact that I and her have almost similar backgrounds. Splendor is a civil engineering graduate and budding data analyst with 2 years of experience, and she's currently working as a transportation data analyst, applying her data analysis skills in transportation engineering. You're welcome, Splendor.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's amazing. Thank you, Splendor, as well. So I'm just going to take that mantle from you, please. Thank you so much. And just introduce Israel. So Israel Oyedare, did I pronounce your name correctly, please? Is that correct? Thank you. So Israel actually is the founder of TYIL, which is committed to raising young leaders who basically aim to occupy every sector by 2050. That is very impressive. I'd say kudos on that. So something about Israel as well that I found very remarkable is that he's actually a doctorate candidate, basically specializing in organizational leadership in Virginia, which is great. So thank you so much, Israel, for joining us today. And finally, we have Amarachi Umoren, who, well, we go way back. So I don't even know. So basically, I'll be introducing her. I'd say she's an engineer by training, but a designer by choice. Amarachi is very remarkable. She basically studied civil engineering, but has really had a passion for basically design. So she's currently a senior product designer in a consulting firm. So congratulations for that, and welcome aboard as well, Amarachi.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Great. So maybe we'll just allow the panelists, tell us a bit more about themselves. So maybe we'll be coming back to you, Splendor. So you can tell us a bit about yourself, what you've done, about your career, because I see you had a switch as well. So that's actually something quite remarkable and interesting to note. So maybe you can tell us a bit about yourself. How about that?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are fine and well. First of all, I'd like to say a very, very huge thank you to the Kaiser Foundation for Social Development for inviting me to speak in this panel session. I had my first contact with KFSD and CKL in 2021 when I attended the sixth edition, either the fifth or the sixth edition of the KFSD soft skills training, and that led me to intern at CKL for my industrial training. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to Engineer IG and Madam Jamila for this wonderful opportunity. Well, I graduated last year from the Civil Engineering Department of the University of Benin. And shortly after that, I got a job opportunity as a transportation data analyst at Advanced Engineering Consultant. And I will say that it has been a wonderful experience exploring the intersection between transportation engineering and data analysis, which are both of my they are both my passions, right? So it's wonderful to have that opportunity to fuse those two together and work in that very niche field of civil engineering. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Yes, you can just go ahead, Chinon.
Okay, please, can I just have Amarachi back, please? Hello. Hi, Amarachi. Thank you so much for that. So we'd like to apologize for that. Okay, thank you, everyone. We'd just like to apologize for that. So please, we just go ahead, just because I know everyone has time commitments, and we kind of apologize for that. So thank you so much all for joining us back again. I'd just like Amarachi to tell us a bit about herself. So we heard a little bit about Splendor. So we are actually very curious to know what Amarachi has been up to. So Amarachi, maybe you can give us a little bit of detail about you, what you've done, and just tell us a bit about all that goodness that you bring as well.
Okay, sounds good. So I think I might actually have a somewhat similar story to Splendor. So I also have an undergrad degree in civil engineering from Covenant University in Nigeria, and I have a master's degree in construction engineering. Currently, I work as a product designer. I've been doing that for about almost 6 years now. So I went straight from working in construction, actually from working at Kaiser to being a product designer. So which is why Nonso and I go way back because we worked together during my time at Kaiser before I left and before he left as well. So yeah, I think Nonso pretty much said it all. I did study engineering, but I always had a passion for design. I always like to see like things come together with me piecing together different shapes, colors, and then to create something, which is why I found my way to design after 7 years of education in engineering.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I'm sure everyone appreciates that as well. And then finally, we're just going to go down to Israel. So Israel, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your story? And we're actually quite excited and we want to know all about it.
Hi, Nonso. Thank you so much for the initial introduction. And it's good to meet other speakers as well. My name is Israel, and I am currently a doctoral candidate at Virginia Tech, USA. I'm focusing on leadership studies and community development. 7 years ago, I started a nonprofit organization that is focused on training youth across Africa. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been researching about. A central question that I usually ask myself is how can I creatively transform the lives of youth in Africa? So I'm excited to be here, and I look forward to learning and as well as sharing from my understanding and experience.
That's amazing. So it's so great to have all of you here. And it seems I'll be doing a very solo session today, which I don't mind. So maybe until Peace sorts her internet on, I will just be your moderator for the day. So thank you guys for joining us. We're quite excited. And we actually want to all know, me, myself, I'm really interested to know how you've used soft skills to kind of like run through your career, that basically how soft skills has impacted your lives, because I do know that all of us, each and every one of us are struggling to kind of drive that career and also kind of like make sure that we have that balance between career development and also having that soft skill development as well. So I'm actually glad to join and to be here as well, so I can ask all these questions and also learn from myself as well. So just before we go into the personal questions, and just to kind of know the nitty-gritty of what you do, maybe we can just, have a little playing field on general conversations that have been, I'd say, on people's minds lately. And I also know that we had some series of questions that people had asked, just generally, just to kind of like build a mindset as to what these things are and what people face generally in the working community. So I think the first question that came to mind was AI. So many people had, brought up a conversation about how AI has affected us or how it affects, in learning perspectives, even in getting jobs today, even in working as well. And each and every one of us, even moving to the tech industry, I mean, except from Israel here, there's always that concern that, what we do might be taken away from us by AI. So even a bit in construction design as well. So maybe we can start with something a bit more plain to just check what exactly is AI? What is this rampage about? What is this rampage about AI? What is AI? So maybe I'll throw that question to any one of us and any one of the panelists, and then maybe whoever wants to speak can just indicate and just tell us what exactly is AI? What's the buzz about this AI that we all know about?
Okay, so I think I will speak on that. So artificial intelligence, AI, is everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you hear AI, machine learning, and stuff like that. So what is AI? So basically, in very simple terms, AI is artificial intelligence. It refers to computer systems that are designed to perform tasks that will typically require human intelligence, right? So we have things like decision making, speech recognition, language translation, and stuff like that. So artificial intelligence learns from the data that you give to it. It identifies patterns in the data, and then it makes decisions with that data that you give to it. So that's basically what AI means.
Oh, that's interesting. So Splendor, AI is not when people say, can you make a music video of Michael Jackson dancing? That's not AI.
Well,
Thank you.
it's kind of part of it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm just messing around. Thank you so much for that definition.
Thank you.
So like you said yourself, AI is something that has come to stay. And I think generally one of the major concerns about it is how basically has it affected what we do as people in the working environment? How has it affected us basically in terms of kind of staying relevant? And I think maybe the next question I'll just throw that to Amarachi here, because I actually want to know how AI has affected her work. So maybe she can give us a bit of insight on that.
Okay, so I'm going to start by speaking generally. So I feel like the way AI affects you depends on your perspective. So many people think about how AI is going to take their job from them. But if you think about it this way, like, how will AI make my job easier? It opens up your mind to different things and you start to look at things from a different point of view, for example. So I work as a UX designer, and currently there's AI tools that can create some design screens. So for you to, like, if you're working on a mobile application, you can have some screens designed through AI. So I had lots of conversations with friends about how they thought this would eliminate the role of designers. But if you think about almost any role out there, there's a lot more to your role than things that AI can do. For example, as a designer, there's the research, there's testing, there's interviews. Those are things that AI can do, but then AI can help you with some screens. So sometimes I'm working on particular projects and there's a lot of copy involved because I'm designing mobile applications. There's 100 pages and I have to design all the integrate like everything, how it works, all the words on it. And I'm like, I don't have time for all that. So I go into ChatGPT and I give it a prompt. I'm like, I'm working on this application, and I describe the screens I'm working on. And I'm like, give me the copy for these screens so that I don't have to do all that myself. So I get that information and it helps me out. It cuts down my time in half. So I'm able to accomplish a lot more things during the day than I would have before AI. So I would say I do use ChatGPT quite a bit. I use Figma as a designer, and right now there's tools that help you to just enter prompts and get a few screens. I also do write code because I had a stint where I was trying to learn to be a front-end developer. I still am. It's for an extent. But yeah, we have GitHub Copilot. These are all things that help to cut down the amount of time you spend working on like busy work so that you can focus on things that will be like a lot more impactful for you.
Thank you so much for that. That is actually quite insightful, and I'm guessing the audience feels the same way. If you feel the same way, just drop a chat for us and emoji as well in the comment section, so we know you feel the same way. But I'm guessing they all feel the same way. So thank you so much for sharing that. So generally, like you said, AI has basically helped us, and it's much more of a tool to kind of help us excel than a tool to kind of steal our jobs from us. So thank you so much, Amachi, for sharing that. And I would just go over to Israel. So it's a bit different because I know in a space where you work in, generally AI is much more of a helpful tool in terms of writing that long or lengthful project outline. So can you tell us in a way how AI has helped you in that sense to actually achieve your deadlines?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and that's because, in my own opinion, AI has its positive and negative here.
Okay.
I really appreciate Amarachi for highlighting the positives, the fact that AI could assist you in, coming up with ideas, could assist you with streamlining your thoughts. I feel like there are also negative implications that affect me directly. And I'm going to share how I've navigated those negative implications. One of the negativity is the fact that there's lots of data insecurity in the use of AI, and also copywriting issues. The fact that you don't know where most of the data that you're copying, most of the content you're copying are drawn from. So as a researcher, I think that one of the basic things you learn as a researcher is to be able to cite and quote references, maybe be able to acknowledge authors who you are copying in your work. So AI assists me in streamlining my thoughts, obviously, but then I do not adopt AI fully as a tool because I can't trust the source of AI. Yeah, I can't trust the source in which most of the data are being brought from. So it has been helpful in streamlining my thoughts, but there is still this human aspect of, oh, what am I doing? I hope I'm writing the right thing. So what people usually say, what researchers usually advise is that after you have gotten things from AI, you should actually do your own check. You should be sure that you're getting it from the right source. So it's been both a balance of the positive and negative for me, and seeing how I could navigate the negative.
Oh, thank you so much, Adrian, for that. Actually, now you talk about it, I know so many companies don't even allow people to go on ChatGPT on their laptops because of data insecurity. So I do know that, AI also does have its negative sides and its positive sides. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure everyone in the audience also appreciates that as well. And we're all learning here today. I see Peace is back. So Peace, welcome back. And just before we end this AI conversation, I don't know if anyone anyone else has anything to ask, but I do have just one question in terms of just understanding how AI has affected us. And what skills have we generally learned? I think maybe I'll be taking one answers from everyone because I want to know what skills we've learned to actually stay on top of AI. As, of course, professionals, we always have to kind of up our game. Even in the working sector, we always have to make sure that we are better. We have to learn that new skill because we're competing not just against, times, we're also competing against peers as well, and different companies as well. But also with the gift of AI, how have we remained relevant in what we do just to ensure that we're on top of our game? So maybe I'll pass that to Splendor and I'll come back to Amarachi and I'll come back to Israel.
Okay, thank you so much. So how I stay relevant, right, with the rise of AI tools and AI things about AI and stuff in the work environment, right? So one thing you can do to stay relevant in your job and stay ahead of the curve is to have AI literacy. You have to, AI is granted, it's not going anywhere, right? So you have to find ways to understand AI capabilities and its potential applications in your line of work. You have to quickly learn new tools and you have to adjust. You have to adjust to the changing work environment, right? So you have to know how to um, use these tools in your work environment. Like Amarachi rightly said, it will cut down your work time in half. Like it's automate repetitive tasks. It will help you brainstorm ideas and stuff like that. And then like Israel also rightly said, we don't have to be over dependent on AI tools because if you are overly dependent on these tools, you don't get to exercise your critical thinking skills enough because now you are giving all your work to AI to help you generate documents and do all your tasks for you, right? So in as much as you are using them in your office and using them to be more productive, you shouldn't be overly dependent on them, right? And then back to AI literacy, you should understand some basic concepts about AI, like machine learning, neural networks, and then you should also be familiar with these tools. And you should also be aware of what it can do and what it cannot do, so you don't have some unrealistic expectations of AI, right? So just try to follow the trends, try to follow the AI trends and new developments in AI that are relevant in your career and your line of work. So that's what I have to say.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much, Splendor, for that. So just like what Splendor said, I do like the fact that she incorporated critical skills into that conversation because generally why we are here especially is to talk about how soft skills has helped us even as young professionals. And even taking that, even as AI coming to life, she has literally said that, you know, she has incorporated critical thinking to basically ensure that she stays relevant. So I feel like even before we dive down into what Amarachi has to say, Splendor has made a very critical point, stating that soft skills has basically helped her in terms of staying relevant. So maybe I just want to also ask Amarachi, in that context, basically, in the terms of soft skill, how has that also helped you stay relevant in driving in terms of that in this new advancement?
With AI. Okay, so I was gonna piggyback off what Splendor said. So yeah, I would say learn the basics of AI and machine learning just to understand how it works. But one thing I do personally is that where I am, there's lots of communities and events where like I'm in several design communities, tech communities. There's several speaking sessions a year where they have speakers from all over the world come in, talk about advancements in technology and how what's new, what's changing, how can we get better in our fields. So it's like speaking and networking events. So I go for this kind of events just to understand, to talk to other professionals, speak with them about the current trends, understand how I can learn about these trends and then apply it into the kind of work that I do. And not only is it great to like advance yourself when it comes to skills, it's also great because you get to meet new people, you get to expand your network, you get to communicate. I feel like there's lots of value to be gotten from just talking with people about the kind of work that you do, because you might not need that information like right now, but you can remember like maybe months in the future that you met this person and now you're working on something that they could help you with potentially. And then because you've met them and kept that communication open, you can reach out to them and then get some additional information from them about whatever.
Thank you so much. So, guys, I hope you're listening in the audience because these are the things that are going to be asked after questions to win Tara's special gift. To know how soft skills has literally helped each and every one of these professionals that are talking today excel in what they're doing. And maybe I'll just come to Israel as well. Maybe you can tell us a bit of how he has used soft skills as well to kind of like excel in this AI dominated world of today?
Yeah, so for me, I think that one skill that has been very critical, one soft skill that has been very helpful for me is relational and trust building skill. I'm careful not to use the word emotional intelligence, and that's because months ago I read an article that says that scientists are beginning to develop artificial intelligence tools to be able to read the emotions of human beings. So I'm usually very careful using that term. But you know, I think that I have been able to, you know, take relationships beyond, oh, let me just meet you, beyond the superficial level, and I'm beginning to understand that there's something AI can do well, and that is how to be building trust between humans and humans, or building trust between machines and humans. So I think that what has helped me to be relevant and what would help people in the coming years is that relational or relationship and trust building skill, the ability to be able to be dependable, the ability to be able to serve and to volunteer in executing leadership responsibilities.
Thank you so much, Israel, for that. So I see there are questions already, but we'll take that after when we have our Q&A session. So please just hold all your questions, so we just don't interrupt the flow. Thank you so much, everyone. So thank you so much for sharing that bit of experience with us. So I think maybe my next question still hovers around soft skills, because I'm very interested to kind of know how we, you know, each and every one of us as young professionals. So I would just be giving, I think one person I would like to answer this question would be Splendor. So I just want to know from your own, you know, background, your own, you know, career growth, how you've effectively balanced both your technical growth and your soft skill growth as well. And if you have any advice in your career, of course, and if you have any examples kind of to illustrate this, it would be amazing to hear it.
Okay, so I will speak on this. Balancing technical and soft skills. Well, I think that one way to find a balance between the two is actively seeking out opportunities that naturally combine your technical skills and your soft skills. For example, in your establishment or the company where you work, you can lead technical projects, volunteer to lead projects, take on roles where you use your technical skills while also managing a team, right? So that helps to build your leadership skills and your communication skills as well. And then I would also say you should deliberately practice these skills. So while you're working on your technical skill, you should also practice your soft skills as well. You can dedicate specific times of the day for each part of it, right? You can say, okay, every day, if you're a programmer, for example, you dedicate an hour of your time every day to coding. And then you can say, give 30 minutes of your time to practice public speaking exercises, right? So maybe you are watching a public speaker online, and then you try to copy what he's doing, the way he's speaking, or his hand gestures and gesticulations, and you stand in front of a mirror and speak as well. So by doing those things, you are kind of not neglecting one skill over the other. So you ensure that neither skill is neglected, and the more you do this, the more it becomes part of your routine and helps you become better in your workplace.
Thank you so much, Splendor, for that. I've actually learned something today. So basically what you're saying is time management is very effective in making sure that we're able to kind of manage our soft skills and our technical skill growth. That is actually great to hear. So you're saying to me that I can do everything as long as I can manage my time. I think that's something to note. Thank you so much for sharing that, Splendor. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So I feel one of the things that I've learned I'm learning so much. Is everyone learning as well, or is it just me? If you're learning, drop something for me in the chats, and let's just make sure that we're all together and we're up in speed. Is that okay? Thanks so much, everyone. So I think this question goes to I have another question. It's a general question as well, and it goes to Amarachi and Israel. Because I do feel like it's so interesting to note. It's called Japa syndrome. And I'm guessing I'm guessing that's a conversation that has been going on in the chat box as well. If people want me to ask this question, please drop me some chats, drop me some comments. Let me just make sure that I'm asking the right questions. But Japa syndrome has been a very interesting curve in the current Gen Z young millennial conversation. And it's an ongoing buzz. Everyone wants to know, what is this? Why? And how does soft skills come into play in terms of working in a multicultural environment? How can I prepare myself if I'm going to, adhere to this Japa syndrome as well? So maybe, I can talk to the Japa syndrome experts on this, on my panelists as well, because I want to know, I'm actually very intrigued how I can prepare myself if I want to learn, if I want to do a master's, if I want to go further course, if I have an opportunity to, maybe move on to, a different country. So tell me, I'm listening. So maybe I'll start with Amarachi. So Amarachi, maybe you
Okay.
can tell me a bit of this Japa syndrome and how you've integrated soft skills and when you moved and when you settled in and when you started working, how that has helped you and what soft skills, what are your top three soft skills that played a very vital role in ensuring for your successful career landing today? So please tell me. I'm
Okay,
so curious.
thank you, Nonso. And shouldn't you be a subject matter? Shouldn't you be an expert in the Japa syndrome here? Okay, well, okay, to put this into context, I live in Canada right now. I've been here for about 3 years, and I came here for a master's degree. I finished my master's degree, and I currently work here. I would say I got some culture shocks coming here. For example, in Nigeria, the way we communicate is a lot different from the way communication is here. So I would say the first few years, probably still, I struggled a lot communicating because there were so many things that I had to learn. For example, I had to learn to actually be more of an active listener, to be interested in what people are talking about. Because in Nigeria, I would go to work, like do the work I have to do and then go home, maybe just with Nigerians, but we would talk about things that were normal for us, like things that we all grew up learning. But I started working here and I would work with people from different cultures, and the small talk would be about things like hiking, pets, things like I'd never done. Or like I didn't even know where to start communicating about, like how to even start. So I think I spent so much time thinking about how to add my own inputs, and it wasn't working out for me until I changed strategy to actually actively listening. So whenever small talk comes up, I'm actively listening, trying to understand how, like when they talk about their pets, their cats, or hiking or things like that, so that the next time things come up, I can talk about things that I learned from a previous conversation. So I would say the biggest key thing for me was communicating, like active listening, actually like being there, and then empathy was another one, because when I first got into this country, Canada, and they would talk about how their pets was sick and they were so worried and they had sleepless nights, in my mind I'm like, why are you going all out because your pet was sick? Like, it's not that deep. But then I started to really like understand and empathize, because just because I grew up differently doesn't mean that everyone has the same like background as I do. So the key things that helped me there were empathy and communicating, active listening, and then being open-minded. Like, because you hear people come up to you with all kinds of conversations. So be receptive, be like, note that you won't always like hear the kind of things that you're used to hearing. So yeah, I would say those are the key things: open-mindedness, communication, active listening, and then empathy. Those are the things that help me to adapt to being in a new environment and working with people of different cultural backgrounds.
Thank you so much, Amarachi, for that. And now over to Israel. So Israel, please tell me a bit about this same Japa syndrome, how basically your top three soft skills that basically helped you in terms of kind of navigating that environment.
Yeah, if I were writing a paper, I would have said, oh, okay, I should look for a definition for Japa, because that's becoming that's becoming a very common term in Nigeria and Africa at large. But then I think that we share similarities with Canada. I'm currently in the United States, and many of the things Amarachi just mentioned are very relatable. One thing that has helped me is the fact that I have been very humble to learn and unlearn. Coming here, I didn't know US is more diverse than I thought. So I found out that I would meet people from Nepal, people from Zambia who I never had interactions with before. And one thing that I usually prioritize was, okay, what is unique about this person? Just like Stephen Covey mentioned in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. Seek first to understand and to be understood. So I feel like I've been in that position, that posture of continuously learning from people. Oh, okay, tell me one unique thing about your culture. And also, I'm also open to unlearning as well. So coming here, I discovered that there are so many things in Africa that were actually not appropriate. For instance, I was leading a training some days ago, and I asked some of the guys to present. They had been informed to present earlier, but they were presenting, and I was hearing sounds underground, like I'm going to speak in Nigerian term, and I was hearing Oshodi. And it was very weird for me because I had spent a very long time in the United States to understand that if you have the opportunity to present an idea or to pitch an idea, you should do it the best way you can. There is no excuse for network failure. So these are things I had to unlearn. I had to unlearn, how to do things the wrong way and all of those. The soft skills that has helped me has been, active listening, like Amarachi said. And I was at yesterday's session where one of the speakers mentioned about active listening. Active listening is not just about, wanting to hear and talk. It's about seeking to actually understand the message behind the message. The second thing for me has been, communications in the area of understanding the various cultural contexts people are from. So I discovered that there are people from individualistic cultural context. There are people from collective or collaborative cultural context. For example, in Africa, the way I would relate to an African in the United States might be slightly different from the way I would relate to an American, in the sense that, Africa, we're used to, let's come together to achieve this goal. When in America, yeah, they have that mindset in a way, but then that's not their lifestyle. So if they are going to be doing it, it means that you actually have lots of value to offer to them. And finally, the last skill that I'd say I have prioritized has been, this is not a skill, but this has been like a posture, a mindset. It's been the act of service. I know that people who are outside the country will agree with me that service is something we're not very used to in Africa. And here, from your first grade, you're taught how to serve, how to volunteer, how to engage in community development. So coming here, that was my first thing. Like, I usually ensured that there would be no year, no week, no month that would go behind without I asking a superior or asking someone how I could be of help, either in the corporate world or in the personal life of other people.
Thank you so much, Idris, for that. I'm learning. I've been taking notes. I don't know if everybody has been taking notes, but me, I've been taking, my pen is off. Thank you so much for that. I'm taking notes because I'm still learning. I'm still new to this Japa syndrome, so I'm still learning. Thanks you so much for sharing your knowledge with me. And then maybe I can share one thing as well. I'd say something that I've also learned is adaptability, which is a soft skill that is so important because you need to be able to adapt to every environment you find yourself. It's very different from what you already know, what you're used to, but adaptability comes a long way, and it does, show that you are ready to learn and you are ready to, get going as well. So thank you so much, guys, for sharing all of that. I am so blessed to learn. So I'm just going to be going down to the more personal questions about your careers. I want to know everything, so I'm just asking. And I'm sure everyone in the comments, in the audience as well, is looking to hear. So maybe I'm going to start with Israel. I'm so curious. Can you tell me some innovative strategies you've discovered for fostering leadership skills among young professionals. So you said to me that you believe in leadership, you believe in driving, ensuring that you create an environment for the next leaders of tomorrow. So can you tell me, and working in an NGO sector like myself as well, I do know that it can be very important to, come up with strategies to foster leadership among young people and especially young professionals. So you tell me about this, Israel, from your own point of view, how you've done this, what strategies you've come up with, and in that way, how can we also learn from that as well? Thank you.
That's a very good question. First, I would like to piggyback on what Splendor mentioned about. She said something about having structure for your soft skills growth. And this is where I would appreciate Kaiser Foundation for organizing something like this. I feel like one of the basic or one of the primary approach or innovative strategy to developing one's soft skills and leadership skills is SST, that's the social skill training. So social skill training is a terminology that has actually been researched. It's a scientific terminology that means that it's supposed to be geared towards a goal. And that's why I'm really appreciative of this initiative. So that's one innovative strategy I'm going to say. Another one is volunteering. So I have a friend who I like to claim that she's my friend. And that's because she went to Harvard University from Nigeria. Anyway, she wasn't given birth to here. And while she was an undergrad in Harvard, she mentioned that she and her friends came together to found a non-profit organization where they teach African students who are very vulnerable, who do not have enough financial resources to apply into Ivy League schools in the US or across the world. And she's been doing that for over 3 years. So she has team members from Yale, from all of these Ivy League schools who are Nigerians, actually. All her team members are Nigerians. And that actually struck a chord in me. And it showed me how much volunteering can go a long way. So through volunteering, through the act of volunteering, she has, we actually can learn how to solve problems, how to practice all of these soft skills that we learn through SST, social skills training. And also we actually can learn how to manage relationships. So volunteering is another strategy. Another strategy, which is more corporate inclined now, is the on-the-job and off-the-job training. So these are regular trainings that organizations and organizations and corporations actually come up with to ensure that their employees get exposed to trends, get exposed to modern techniques for handling their work. But one thing I would actually say that has been a very good, that is actually a very good strategy that organization can deploy, particularly non-profit organization, is to make sure that there is an opportunity for consistent leadership education within a particular workforce, either in the non-profit sector or the corporate sector, in a corporate organization, for-profit sector, actually. So what I mean by consistent leadership education is, so leadership education is not just, let me teach you what leadership is. It's about making sure that there is enough information about what leadership is, what the theories of leadership are. For example, if like an average employee should understand what authentic leadership is, what transformational leadership is, not just by the book, but also in practice. What are the theories associated to situational leadership? And it could take a long while, but I'm thinking that if organizations, non-profit organizations, can commit to ensuring that they develop their employees in this area, or even employees take it upon themselves to go on constructive and deliberate, leadership education adventure, it would be helpful for them to develop, critical skills. So I've just mentioned 4 points. Consistent leadership education, volunteering, on-the-job and off-the-job training, and SST, social skills training.
Thanks so much, Uzo, for that. I've actually taken notes. I don't know if anybody's taking notes, but I'm also taking notes. Thank you so much for that. Generally, I do find that very useful as well, because even in that non-profit environment as well, like you need to, leadership is so important generally to kind of drive. And even in the corporate world as well, where people are looking up to you, it's so important that you show that you're a leader that they can emulate. So thank you so much for that, Israel. So I'll just be going over to you, Amarachi. And so please, just before I go over to Amarachi, guys, just keep your questions. I'll be taking a whole lot of questions soon, and we'll get into the Q&A section. So please just keep all your questions. So Amarachi, over to you. So can you tell me, so obviously you work in the product design space and you have practical experience in this field. So what soft skills have you basically used and what tips can you give us, so we can excel in this rapidly changing job market?
Okay, I think I'm a great person to speak about this because I'm going to be transparent here. The tech industry has been a little bit volatile. I personally got laid off last year in May. So I've had to go through a series of interviews and stuff to get a new job. And honestly, I feel like initially, early in my career, maybe the tech market was much better because I did not struggle to get a job. But then this past year, like I noticed a drastic change in the tech space. I think I went in there without having a great idea or understanding of the soft skills that I would require to be able to get back into the job market. So there was a lot of learning, unlearning, and relearning for me. I would say the biggest thing is communication, because there's a question you asked earlier on about how we can balance technical and soft skills. And the very first thing that came to my mind was interviews, because that's the ultimate test of balancing technical and soft skills. Because to be honest, a lot of us can do the job, but with interviews, they want to understand if they can work with you as a person. They want to understand if you're a great culture fit. So one thing that I would say, the soft skill I have used in this is like, first of all, communication. And I'm going to repeat active listening again, right? Because sometimes you go into things like interviews and you're nervous. So you already have like all your answers prepped and everything you want to say, but you're not actively listening to what the person is saying to you. So you're just prepared with a loaded gun, okay, I'm saying this and that. But then if you were actively listening, you would be able to ask more relevant questions. You'll be able to give like more in-depth answers to the questions being asked of you. So that was something I learned before, because I'm not a public speaker, right? I get really anxious talking with people. So I would spend like a lot of my time prepping to be able to, talk to anybody. And then because I did that, everything I would say would feel so scripted. I wouldn't even be paying attention to what you're saying. I'm just like, let me get everything that I'm going to impress you today. Like I'm about to drop some knowledge on you. But then it wasn't working out that way, right? So back to the point I was trying to make, like active listening, communicating would be like the greatest things you could probably do or like use with like the world today and the changing tech space and climate. And again, networking, because people say in Nigeria you have to know somebody to be able to get a job. Honestly, I'll tell you, it's worse here. Like it is way worse here when it comes to like knowing people, because if you interview for several jobs, you keep applying online, there's a very slim chance of you being called back. But then if you apply for jobs by reaching out to people, networking, going on LinkedIn, talking to your connections, you have a much higher chance of getting an interview. So yeah, active listening when you do get the interview, but then to get it, lots of networking and communicating and then maintaining relationships with people are things that will help you out there.
Thank you, Amarachi, for those points. I do find that very relevant, and I'm hoping everyone in the audience also finds that very relevant as well. And I'll just be going strictly all the way to Splendor, just to ask her a question. So Splendor, just before we round up and we take general questions, I just wanted to ask you, what major challenge have you faced in your career, and how have your problem-solving skills helped you navigate through those problems?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what major challenge have I faced? Well, I would say sometimes I used to struggle with like coming out, being very involved in teamworks and what a lot of people, like groups of people, are doing. Most times I shy away from joining team projects because I am not very outspoken. But I realized that for you to grow, in order for you to grow, you have to put yourself out there, right? You have to learn things that you're not comfortable with. You have to come out of your comfort zone. And one way that I was able to navigate this was by having a mentor, right? So at my job, the person that offered me the job opportunity, the director of transportation planning, and I reached out to him on LinkedIn, and after giving me the job opportunity, I told him about like how I get, nervous around people and being part of a team. And he has been very helpful. He has helped me to navigate my fears and helped me to work better in the work environment and in teams. And he gives me practical advice based on his own experience, right? So that I don't have to make the same mistakes that he made, right? So he also he teaches me how to communicate effectively, right? Um, he like when during some team meetings, he asked me to speak, and I have to, I have to put the fear aside and speak during team meetings. So I would say that mentorship, having a mentor, is very important in your life, right? So having a mentor holds you accountable, right? So when you are given tasks to do, and if you have a mentor, you won't like slack on it. You won't do other things instead of doing the job that you were asked to do. So when you have a mentor, hold you accountable. Regular check-ins with your mentors can help you, focus on your job and help you become better in the workplace. So I would say mentorship is very, very, very important.
Thank you so much, Splendor, for that. I do appreciate all that you've said today. I do find that actually very important as well. Each and every one of us has to be accountable. If we want to be leaders of tomorrow, we have to show that accountability within ourselves. So, guys, just rounding up, thanks. I just want to thank all the panelists for joining us and, for giving us their insights. So, just before they go, I just want to ask: does anyone have any questions for them? I'll be taking 3 questions. So you can pop it in the chat box if you have any questions for them that I can ask them. I'll be taking only 3 questions. I'll just give up to a few more seconds for that. And if nobody has any questions, we can just round up for today. Okay, so we have one question. So maybe I'm going to go to, this will be for Israel. The chat section says, what would you say is the most overrated soft skill and the most underrated soft skill, in your opinion?
So, I don't think there is an overrated or an underrated soft skill, and that's because you need all soft skills at different points in time. If I told you, or if I tell you that, oh, okay, emotional intelligence, because of my bias, is an overrated soft skill, you'll find out that you actually would need that skill where you least expect. So I don't think there is, personally, I don't think there is an overrated and underrated soft skill. I think that all soft skills should actually be prioritized and should be applied based on the need of the person applying it.
Thank you so much, Israel.
Yeah,
oh, go on. Yeah.
I was also going to mention that, soft skill most times is like an investment in yourself. You least expect when it will pop up. You least expect when you need it. So, say for example, I'm deliberate about my relational and trust building skill. And I'm reading books on it. I would least expect that, oh, someone is going to need that skill for me to express at different point in time. So I would encourage that as much as possible, try to just develop as many skills as possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Idra, for that. But just before you go, one more, someone asked a personal question to you. He says, or she says, as Nigerians, how do you think we can practically imbibe leadership skills? So maybe one advice that you have before we go to the final question.
Yeah, just one advice, leadership education. Leadership education is deeper. It's deeper than, just doing a one-day thing. It's about immersing yourself in continuous learning. The Japanese people call it Kaizen, K-E-I-Z-E-N. Yeah, K-E-I-Z-E-N, continuous learning. Continuous learning about yourself, being aware of social issues, and also social issues that affect Nigerians and Africans at large, and also thinking of complexities in leadership. When we have this understanding, then we will know the root cause of so many leadership problems in Africa.
Thank you so much, Isla, for that insight. And so I actually have one last question to go before we call it a day. And I think this is actually a very important question because I do feel like maybe someone has the wrong idea on how they can learn soft skills. So someone says, I'm interested in learning soft skills, but I'm not really a computer literate. So how do I go about it? So maybe I can ask Splendor that question. So Splendor, please, can you take that?
Okay, thank you so much. So I don't think that you necessarily need to be computer literate to learn a soft skill. I think if you were talking about technical skills, then yes, you need to learn how to use a computer, operate a computer. But learning soft skills, things like public speaking or leadership or time management, you necessarily don't need to be computer literate. You just need to insert yourself in situations or groups of people where you can learn those things in person. So I don't really think you necessarily need to be computer literate for you to develop those skills.
All right, thank you so much, Splendor, for that. And just with that question, we would call it a day. Sorry, we'll call it the end of this particular session. I think there's another session. So Tara, please, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Nonso, for moderating this insightful session. Thank you so much, Splendor. Thank you, Israel and Amarachi, for such an insightful panel session. Thank you so much. And you must all agree with me that this session was quite impactful. In one word, let me know how the session was in the comment section. Already, I started seeing amazing. I saw someone said, oh, it was mind-blowing. Okay, let me see. Someone said fire. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. I wrote a lot. I had a lot to write. Impactful. Thank you so much once again to our panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Without further ado, let's just go straight to the next thing on our agenda for today. I want to especially recognize the presence of the founder of Kaiser Foundation for Social Development. All right, so sorry about that.
Hello.
For the questions, hi IG. For the questions, so sorry.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, IG.
You can see that I'm just smiling, right? Why am I smiling? Will somebody ask me why I'm smiling? Huh?
Why are you
You know why I'm
smiling?
smiling?
Why are you smiling?
Because we have raised leaders. I've been listening to you guys. All of you have passed through this training, and I'm so excited that we have raised leaders. I'm so excited. So I want to tell you a bit where this, by the way, for those that don't know me, my name is Igbuano Kaiser. Everyone calls me IG. I'm the founder of Kaiser Foundation for Social Development. It was founded about 7 years ago, going on 8 now. I'm also the CEO of Construction Kaiser. Construction Kaiser turned 31 last week. So it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey. And I'm just so excited because When you have dreams and the dreams now start to come true, then you feel fulfilled. And that's the way I feel right now. I just feel, I'm just so happy. I'll tell you where all this started from. Now, you will wonder what concerns a construction company with soft skills. You wonder. Ewoma is not here, but I'd like to thank her. I'd like to thank her because we were interviewing people for roles. We saw they were struggling. They are good engineers, but they are struggling. They are good quantities of yours, but they are struggling. You are interviewing somebody, can't even look you in the eye. And you wonder, how is this one going to communicate with the client? I can tell you, let me share with you. I like storytelling. I like storytelling because that's the best way to learn. Because I can tell you all the story, I can say all sorts of theories. Without giving you practical examples, you can't really understand how they connect, how the theory connects to everyday living. I have a classmate, not one, not even two, that made first class. And I think the biggest thing they've struggled with are their soft skills. Looking back, when somebody asks a question now about computer and soft skills, I just said to myself, when we graduated from school, there were probably no computers. I graduated from school 36 years ago. Computers were not popular. So soft skills has nothing to do with computers. Well, maybe now artificial intelligence and all that, but soft skills is not, computers are not a prerequisite for soft skills. Being able to communicate, it's so important. Emotional intelligence, trying to gauge the other person's feelings. How do I make sure I don't offend this person and achieve what I want to achieve? Some people do have no clue about emotional. Look, I didn't go to school to study soft skills, but after working for 36 years, I can tell that it's so important. You can have all the technical skills in the world. If you don't have soft skills, no way, no movement for you in your career. I'm sorry to say. Soft skills are the key to your advancement. You must know how to talk, know the right things to say and when to say them. So we're talking about communication. We're talking about emotional intelligence. We're talking about public speaking. They are all connected. They are different skills, but they're all connected. Okay? Now, those who have worked with me here, Amarachi has worked in this organization for some time. Nonso worked in this organization. Splendor worked in this organization. Okay? Tara worked in this organization. I'm sure you can testify that I'm a good listener. I listen. I'm the boss. I can decide to talk all day. I can choose to talk all day, right? When I enter a meeting, I can talk from morning to afternoon and shut everybody else up. But if I do that, will anybody want to work with me? First and foremost, nobody wants to work with me. That man is just a dictator. I don't want to work with him. I'm not excited to work with him. That's one. Now, being a good leader is about listening. When you bring people into your organization to work with you, and then you are paying them salaries every month, and you don't allow them contribute. First of all, these are all brilliant people. All these people I just called that I work with, they are all smart. They're smart people. So if I know 50%, Nonso knows 10, Tara knows 10, Splendor knows 10, Amarachi knows 10, Israel knows 10, that's 100. But because I'm a dictator, I'm a bad listener, I come with only 50%, and I don't allow them contribute that 10%. Who's the biggest loser? Me. So leadership is about being a good listener. You have to listen. To work in a team, you have to be a good listener. You cannot impose all your ideas on others. Everybody wants to thrive, by the way. Everybody wants to contribute something. So when you are choking them, you don't allow them to thrive, they will never grow. And what happens? They all leave your organization. I can tell you, last weekend we celebrated our 31st anniversary as a company. And we had 3 people who had worked for 10 years, 1 person who had worked for 15 years. They received their long service awards. How many people work in organizations for 15 years, 20 years? We have people in these organizations who have worked for 20 years. That's unusual. It's rare in Nigeria. But this is something we achieve as a company. So I've talked about communication. I've talked about teamwork. I've talked about leadership. I've talked about emotional intelligence. Now, as a leader has a vision, right? Now, if you cannot pull your team together to key into that vision is dead on arrival. So, as a leader, you must have the right vision, and you must have a compelling vision that inspires people to want to go on that journey with you. It's a journey. You have a mission, you have vision. People must be happy to go on that journey with you. If they're not happy to go on that journey with you, you go alone and you cannot make it alone. So you need people to key into that vision and actively work on achieving that objective with you, which requires communication. Again, you must be able to speak to them in a way that they say the right things so that they want to come on that journey with you. Otherwise, you will fail. Customer relations. Every business, every organization requires businesses. Now, we talked about technical, we talked about soft skills. Technical skills are only 20% of your success. Soft skills are 80%, if you ask me. And I always tell young people, make yourself relevant to your organization. Make yourself relevant. Why am I saying that? A business owner will invest in you if you bring value to the business. So forget about what you studied, whether you made first class or you made third class. For all that is all history is history. No, but that first class only opens the door for you. But soft skills is what makes you progress. Or it just opens your door. And guess what? If you cannot do anything with your academic achievement, it now becomes a liability for you. So when you want to acquire, if you bring value to your organization, if, for example, Nonso is always getting new clients, today, $1 million, the next day, $2 million. If Nonso comes and says he wants to resign, I will beg Nonso, please stay. I'm ready to double your salary, triple your salary. Please stay. Because Nonso has strong customer relationship skills. Now, even if you're not working somewhere, you want to run your own business. You need those skills, don't you? If you don't get business, can your organization be sustainable? No, the answer is no. A business has bills to pay. You look into the future, you have to be sustainable to be able to continue to be in business. So, customer relations, it has to do with empathy. Okay, so I've dived into another area now called empathy. Leadership is about empathy. You must care about the people around you. Who are the people? Your colleagues, your employees, your vendors, your clients. I can tell you, that's one of the strongest skills that God blessed me with. I didn't acquire it by myself. I don't know how it came upon me. But I care about people. It has hurt me sometimes for being too nice to people, but I can tell you that I've benefited more from it than it cost me. You must care about your customer. Your customer has given you business for a reason. Because they too, they want to meet their objectives. That's why they give you a project to do, or they give you an item to supply, or they give you a service to render. So they need something from you, isn't it? True. Now, you as a human being, do you care whether they get benefit from your service or not? You must care. And that's where empathy comes in. Oh, my client gave me this house to build. He needs it because he wants to spend Christmas in his house. So as a construction company, I must struggle to make sure his house is ready for Christmas. Or he wants to celebrate his 70th birthday. I've had such situations before. When we're building a lecture theater in Lasso, the client wanted that place ready for his 70th birthday. He was donating the lecture theater to Lasso. Now, if we didn't finish that building in time for his 70th birthday, he will not be happy. So what am I saying? You must have empathy for your customer. We got the place ready. His 70th birthday, he went to cut the tape. He was happy. He donated the lecture theater to Lasso. If we didn't meet that deadline, will they be happy? The answer is no. Your employees, the same thing. You must care about them. Your colleagues in the office, you must care about them. So empathy, a leader must be empathetic. If not, you miss it. All right? So I've talked about leadership. I've talked about customer relations. I've talked about problem. Okay, I've not talked about, I've talked about teamwork. I've talked about communication. I've talked about presentation. Maybe I should dive into that a bit. I will share my experience. Storytelling again. I went to Harvard Business School to do a course called Owner President Management Program. It was a 3-year program where we come to school for 4 weeks every year. We work in school and then go back home to our businesses and work, and then come back to school again and work. So the last module, we're supposed to present the strategies of our businesses. We went, we prepared, we took it very seriously. The company camped in a hotel for a weekend. We came up with our strategy, and then we had maybe 5 groups of 7 members each. So we worked on our strategy. Now, in our group, I came first. So the finals was in front of the whole class and in front of strategy professors of Harvard Business School. Tell me, the biggest professors of strategy in the world are domiciled there. So what a day it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a great day, right? Here I was going to present in front of strategy professors of Harvard Business School. I was excited. It was my turn to present. I presented. I have a picture, by the way. I should have shared it with you. And then time for the results came out. They called third. I wasn't third. I said, okay, maybe I was second or first. They called the second. I wasn't there. I said, oh, maybe I came first. And they called the first. My name wasn't there. I was disappointed. As we left the class that day, a friend of mine came to me. He asked me, are you used to making presentations? I said, no. He said, guess what? You had more substance, but your delivery was poor. This was 2009. So we're talking about 15 years ago. That's when I took a decision to improve myself in my communication and public speaking. I learned. I bought articles on public speaking and presentations. I'm sure some of you on this call, I have shared those articles with you. Harvard Business Review articles on presentations and public speaking. Today, I'm a better public speaker. I learned, last month, we had a training session by Microsoft training executives on how to use AI to present PowerPoint slides. So again, as a leader, you must continue to develop yourself. A leader who doesn't develop themselves, they get lost. Once people working under you, people who are supposed to be looking up to you, know that you don't develop yourself, you get lost. So a leader must continuously develop themselves. I just gave you an example of how I continue to develop myself, despite the fact that I graduated 36 years ago. I still develop myself. When there's a chance to learn something new, I'm happy to learn. So I'm not one of those guys, yes, they call me ancestor in the office, but they tease me and call me ancestor. That's fine, right? But I'm sure a lot of them can't do better than me when it comes to tech, because I take my time to learn new things. Time management. As a leader, you must be on time. You must be on time. If I have an appointment with you and you don't show up on time, already have a bad impression about you. It spoils whatever conversation we're going to have. If you are going to sign a deal, you are going to negotiate a big contract, and you are late, already you have put yourself in a disadvantaged position. So it's very important that you're on time, that you give respect to people. In fact, it's a source of disrespect when you come for a meeting and you are late. Disrespect for the people who are supposed to be waiting, who are supposed to be meeting with you. So I just thought I should share my experience in dealing in how soft skills has affected my career, how it has brought me this far. I didn't know what it was starting my career. But like I said, I was blessed with certain skills. I don't know how I got them. God gave them to me. But I have grown as I have worked. So I just felt I should spend some time with you to tell you how this program came about, why we thought it was necessary, and how it has affected my career. It's been so nice talking to you. So back to you, Tara.
Thank you so much, IG. Thank you so much for that word. It's safe to say that IG is planting the tree, or is planting trees that it may not sit under. And that's like part of IG's, I think it's even IG's favorite proverb.
It's my favorite proverb. It is.
Yeah,
It's my
thank you
favorite
so much.
proverb.
IG is a father to many of us. And like he said, why his product, and I'm sure that there are places that IG will go to that, I mean, it's going to find his products there. Thank you so much, IG, for those words, those insightful words. And
My pleasure.
yes, sir. Before I forget, for all of you that are asking questions for the panelists, please kindly send your questions in the chat room so that we can send it to the panelists, and then they can answer your questions. Yes, so that they can answer your questions. You can send in your questions to the chat room, and then the panelists can answer your questions. All right, thank you so much, IG, once again. So right about now, we want to have our partners speak to us. We want to have our partners speak to us, Kaiser Foundation for Social Development Partners. And the first partner that we'll be having to speak to us is Mr. Tejumola Asonloko. I'm sorry if I murdered that name. Mr. Tejumola Asonloko is from DSN. Mr. Tejumola, over to you. Please, we can't see you, Mr. Tejumola.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, IG, for that presentation. Actually learned a lot from it. Okay, good. So I'm Tejumola Sanloko. I'm the community project analyst for data science Nigeria. And I'll be, let me just share my screen so that I can quickly take us through what data science Nigeria, so known as Data Scientist Network, is all about, what we do, our vision, and how we implement our vision. Okay, good. So let me just share my screen. Yeah. Okay, good. Let me share my screen. Can you please make me a co-host? Share my screen. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Tejumola, you can go ahead to share.
Yeah, I'm already sharing my screen. Thank you very much. Okay, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay, so at Data Science Nigeria, we are committed to raising a billion AI talent and build AI solutions to improve the emerging market. And to do this, we have three core main areas that we use in implementing this vision. Number one, we have community of learners that we're speaking much to. Community of learners and research. We're very keen to research and learning at DSN, and I'll be speaking more on that area. We also have product development for social impact. We have products that we have developed for social impact, and we also partner with different organizations for solution delivery. So we use these 3 core areas to implement our vision of raising 1 million AI talent and building AI solutions that improve the quality of life and the well-being of the 2 billion people living in the emerging market. So here on the screen is different learning content delivery platform, and then how we have actually done that in numbers. We have more than 24,000 videos on YouTube. We have 709,280 views on our YouTube page. We have 3 million online participants at our event. We have 6,000 face-to-face classes, especially on a program that I will still be sharing with everyone on this program. That is our free AI in every city program that I'll be sharing with everyone on this program. Go. So this is the DSN community. The DSN community is actually the bedrock of DSN. And this is what we do. This is the arm of the organization that is responsible for raising 1 million AI talent. As I've earlier mentioned, that this community is a community of learning and research. And then we have different strata of community. As you can see on the screen, we have different strata of DSN community. We have campus communities. These are communities on campuses, majorly students. Okay, and then we have city communities. These majorly professionals in cities who are not on campuses. We also have ladies in AI community. This community is dedicated to ladies. We want ladies to be included. We also have for kids and teens. We have AI for schools. We have AI for professionals, and this is a community that is dominated by professionals in different fields. We have AI for executive. These are the executives that make decisions, policies, and we have a dedicated community for them. We also different thematic masterclasses and training for executive. We also have DSN talent. We have AI startups, AI researchers, practitioners, and 2 experts. And then we also have our partner hubs. Okay, good. So why do we have this community? What are the benefits of joining the DSN community? One of the benefits of joining DSN community, whether on campus, city, as a professional, as a practitioner, is number 1, we have mentorship opportunity. Now, because of our reach, our broad network, we have experts scattered around the world, and then these selfless members who are always ready to give back to the community in terms of mentorship. Okay, and so our community members have access to world-class mentors. They also have opportunity to attend and participate in international conferences like the Deep Learning in Daba, especially AI-oriented or machine learning-oriented conferences. We also have training, premium trainings, and content, and facilitators. So our community members have access to trainings, and most of our training at Data Science Nigeria, because we want to domesticate, we want to democratize, I want to demystify the knowledge. So we don't want any gap, we don't want any barrier. We go as much as making it available to everyone for free, even at their doorstep. Okay, we also give job referrals, internship, and job opportunity to our community members. We also support our community members in writing, research, and also pushing it to different conferences, and then that's just it. So now this is the last slide for me, and you can ask a question afterwards. This is a major program for. This is the class that we introduce enthusiasts, data science, artificial intelligence enthusiasts to the profession. And for this year, we'll be starting July. We're already in the process. We've had thousands of learners registered already, and then we also have hundreds of hosting partners who has showed interest to host this program. Also, we have tutors who are our community members who have shown interest to facilitate they volunteer to facilitate this at different places. Now, why this program is peculiar is because we want to take this program to the doorstep of the people, and that's why it's called AI in every city. We have different cities who have registered different hubs, many from different cities who are registered, which means it's not compulsory to come to Lagos to have access to this, Where you are in Katsina, Sokoto, Kaduna, Kano, you will have access to this learning from us, and it is free. It is free of charge. So that's the link to register as a learner. And then apart from the soft skills that we have learned so far in this section, we added a technical skill to it. It's also very important. So that is it. We have a Power BI. These are the courses, the Power BI track. We have the Power App track, machine learning with Python, and we also have the machine learning with Azure track on this program. So if you're interested, my colleague Bukun will be dropping the link to register as a learner, and then you add it to your skill. Okay, good. So if there's any question, I'll be available to answer your question. Okay, I think over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tejimola, for that short presentation. Thank you so much. So they'll be asking their questions after the next panel session, but we will quickly take the next partner's presentation, and this is going to happen for 5 minutes. We will be taking Dr. Celestina Eke, Dr. Celestina Eke, NIQS, for 5 minutes. Thank you so much, Dr. Celestina. Over to you now. Is Dr. Celestina there?
Yes, she's here. Yes, she's here.
Okay, so you can go ahead, ma'am. Over to you for 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Okay, good morning. Really excited to be here. You are giving me 5 minutes, so I can't do much. I must thank IG. He did a great work, and bringing this innovation is mind-blowing. But before I tell you about NIQS Foundation, I'll just quickly add to what the gentlemen and ladies said concerning the soft skill. It's really important to add time and priority management to whatever you're doing. Working towards certification. As you acquire these soft skills, you must get certifications for ease of getting job or switching to any job you want to. You know, people have said so much about it. IG has said a lot about that, but it's very important to add it to whatever you're doing. Personal and professional development. As you grow in your career, as you get these soft skills, you must have personal and professional development. What do I mean by that? You know, your personality speaks a lot about you. It speaks volume. I'm a quantity surveyor as a professional, but I keep telling my professional colleagues that because you're a QS does not mean you have to look dirty, you have to look unkempt. You must personally improve yourself. What you look like is how people address you before knowing you. Then networking, you said something about networking. Key, very key. We are over 131 people, participants here. You can chart, identify who you think you can network with, start it here. You go for a conference. Even if people don't pay attention to you or listen to you, network. You must be deliberate about that. You must have a target. Who do I want to talk to? I'm coming into this webinar, I want to talk to IG. My target is to get IG. In all good intent, I'll reach out to him. If I can't get him, I get somebody that knows how to get to IG, okay? So volunteering, you mentioned it, and professional leadership. It is in volunteering that people know who you are. It is in volunteering that your skills are identified. It is in volunteering that you are known to whether you're going to be a good leader or not. So please volunteer as small as it is. in your church, in your professional organizations, in your leadership group, volunteer and do something. People are watching and they are seeing you, okay? Then finally, personal branding and visibility. What do I mean by that? There are LinkedIn, social medias that talk about you. So you must be visible. As you're visible, people will notice you. They might not like your page, 1,000 viewers, 20,000 viewers and all that. But I tell you, they are seeing you. So be there, be visible, brand yourself. Brand yourself, they know that, okay, if IG comes out, IG will come out and speak so visibly and he's there. People want to know who is IG. I'm just meeting him for the first time, but I've been interacting with Kaiser Foundation for over 2 years now, okay? So in a nutshell, because I just have limited time, there's no time to share our slide because there's no time. We'll send the soft copy to the company, to Kaiser Foundation to share with your people, but I'll just quickly tell you about NIQS Foundation. I am the DG of NIQS Foundation and is a Nigerian Quantity Surveyors Foundation, a non-governmental organization. It was actually born out of things like this. For, our mission is rooted in the belief that the built environment holds immense potential for addressing critical social environmental challenges. From climate action to addressing sustainability and social housing, economic growth and gender equality. Through strategic partnership, impactful initiatives, and tireless advocacy, we have made significant strides in advancing sustainable development goals and empowering communities. So in order not to take your time, but however, while we do all these things, our journey so far, as we navigate ever-evolving landscape, the acquisition of soft skills has become an indispensable component of professional and personal growth. These essential competencies enable individuals to thrive, fostering effective communication, collaboration, problem solving, and adaptability skills that are invaluable in today's dynamic world. For students and aspiring professionals, soft skills serves as a catalyst for success, complementing academic knowledge with crucial interpersonal and leadership abilities. Entrepreneurs too benefit tremendously from cultivating these skills, as effective communication, negotiation, and networking are vital for building strong professional relationships and driving business growth. The NIQS Foundation recognizes the transformative power of soft skills and the ability to empower individuals to unlock their full potential by equipping students, professionals, and entrepreneurs with these invaluable competencies. We pave the way for a more sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous future for all. It is with great honor that we collaborate with the Kaiser Foundation for Social Development in this exceptional soft skill training program. Together, we can shape a generation of leaders who possesses not only technical expertise, but also the soft skills necessary to navigate the complexities of a rapidly evolving world. I thank you very much for this opportunity. I thank Kaiser Foundation. We are going to see how we collaborate to do greater things for our young ones, for the youth and professionals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina Eke from NIQS. Thank you so much for that short presentation. Dr. Celestina is one of the partners of Kaiser Foundation for Social Development, and we've also had Mr. Tejumola, also one of the partners for Kaiser Foundation for Social Development. Shortly after Elinor Moshe's session, we'll be having Dr. Israel from NYIL for his own presentation as well. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Tina. So about now,
I'm going to take my leave. I have a meeting, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Right about now, we're about to get into the next panel, the next session, which is a session with Elena Moshe. So before then, remember I told you that I have goodies for you. I've not been seeing your engagement on our social media platforms. Begin to engage us on social media platforms. Invite your friends if possible. Call them. And then you can also chat here. Let's see you. People that engage are the people that are going to get these goodies that I have in store for you. I have books, I have mentorship opportunities, internship opportunities. So let's see the people that are going to win that opportunity. Thank you so much. Over to you now, Bethel, to introduce Elinor Moshe for our session.
Thank you so much. Is the floor all mine?
Hi, Helena. Good morning from Nigeria.
Good morning.
Actually, morning in Nigeria.
It is good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Shall I just go straight into it?
No. We're about to take your profile.
Okay, wonderful.
Take Eleanor's profile before she continues. We cannot hear you, Bethel. You are muted. Hello, Bethel, you're muted.
All right. So I'll be reading out Elinor Moshe's profile. So, yes, Elinor Moshe is an ambitious and driven thought leader, mentor, best-selling author, award-winning podcast host, and businesswoman disrupting the construction industry. She is the founder of Construction Coach, Australia's first construction coach, constructing exceptional, excellent, and exemplary people behind the projects. She is the recipient of the Best Construction Training Company 2022, Australia, by Build magazine. Her book, Young Gone, was awarded Best in Education at the Authors Book Expo, plus 2 additional awards. She is also the author of Constructing Your Career, Leadership in Construction, and compiler of the global anthology, Secrets of the Construction Industry. Elinor Moshe has been featured in Entrepreneur Asia Pacific, Yahoo Finance for her career, leadership and business acumen, and over 50 global podcasts. Her new podcast, Deconstructing You, delves deep into deconstructing paradigms, patterns, and psyche to experience the truth of you by healing and joining into the invisible and unknown. So, with a virtual round of applause, I want us to make welcome Elinor Moshe.
Okay, with a virtual round of applause, let's make welcome Elinor Moshe. Also, did you know that Elinor Moshe's book,
So
Construction,
I would
Secrets of the
at this
Construction.
point, I would want to make welcome Elinor Moshe for our session today.
All right, thank you so much.
Tara, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Thank you so much, Bethel. Also, I just wanted to impute that one of the books that Elinor Moshe published this year, which is Secrets of the Construction Industry, that IG was a contributor to that book. And I'm sure that Elinor Moshe, and Elinor Moshe is someone that has been attending our soft skills training. This is not our first time of doing this, and we're actually ready to learn from you once again. Thank you so much. With a virtual round of applause, let's see virtual round of applause as we welcome Elinor Moshe. Thank you so much. Over to you now, Elinor Moshe.
Thank you for the warm introduction, and a pleasure and privilege to be here with CKL and, of course, everyone in attendance. But the thing is, I'm not seeing many faces on the screen. So cameras on, because without cameras, there will be no surprises. There will be no bonuses. And if IG himself can have his camera on, the man behind CKL, I don't think IG ever hides behind CKL and will not show up if CKL or anyone in the team demands him to do so. If the man himself can have his camera on and attend with his presence, then everyone else can as well. Because like everything, you only get out what you put in. And if you hide behind a camera, what energy are you giving out to people in your life that you don't want to be seen, that you are not worthy of being seen? I don't care if you're in your car or if you're cooking or if you're on the way to breakfast. It doesn't matter if you haven't done your hair, or it doesn't matter. It is the energy that you choose when you decide if you will be the leader or the follower. Now, of course, there is nothing wrong with following. I am a follower of other leaders, as I am a leader in certain areas as well. But one thing that is so much better, now I actually get to see faces and your responses. Thank you so much. But you're not doing this for me. You did not dedicate your time, not even for CKL. You're doing this for you. And it is important to note that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you half bake something like this, then you will take that same energy, you will take that same intention, and you will duplicate that across all pillars and arenas of your life. And if you look at the energy, the aura of a leader, they are different. They are cut from a different fabric, but they also make themselves to be so significantly, I'm going to say, concentrated. When you look at a leader, I'll just get that share screen to stop. When you look at a leader, how they carry themselves, the intention behind their action, their words, the presence that they give you when you are around a leader, that is not something that happens by accident. And in talking to IG's team, how they describe him, I feel like I've been in his presence without having ever been in his presence yet. And no one just talks about anyone just because they're their boss. I mean, really, that's not how it works. So if you forego the small and easy things like putting on your camera, then you will also start creating that mental habit for the bigger things when they demand it of you. Have I explained that in a way that makes sense to everyone? Yes, thumbs up from Ali, head nods from Lawal. Fantastic. Now, it is a pleasure and privilege to be here, especially in the company of IG, the team, and all of you here to be discussing leadership. There will be time for Q&A towards the end, and everything that you have already been discussing, I'm sure, falls under the banner of leadership. It's one of those conversations which is, how long is a piece of string? Because so much encompasses the concept of leadership. And in today's society, where so many things are slipping into immoral and unethical practices, to be a leader of exemplary caliber, of impeccable thinking, and to have a strong heart is such a formidable combination in today's world. And the opportunity is there to lead. That's one of the biggest things that I thought when it came to leadership, was that someone has to give it to me, but you don't have it given to you. You earn your stripes and you earn your battle scars. And what I will be showing and talking you through today is common leadership myths, which tend to prevent people from even entering that arena, but also talking about 3 of the contemporary skills that form the backbone of leadership today. Now, of course, some of the skills have sub-skills and you can break it down until next month per se, but I wanted to give you things which I found to be quite uncommon in the journey as well. If throughout the presentation I have said something that has caused you to have an aha moment or to think differently, then I would love you to put aha, AHA, in the chat. It allows me to know that we're all on the same page. And of course, I am delivering relevance and value to you as you choose to be part of this astounding conference. So thank you so much again for your time in attendance, and please do maintain your cameras on. I can see your faces. I can interact. I feel like I've traveled across the continent and I haven't even left my room. So I appreciate you having your cameras on. Now let's think about the archetype of a leader today. Imagine a leader. Imagine being in the presence of this person that inspires you to be your best and do your most. There are leaders that just want the most out of you, but that's just being a workhorse. They don't want your best. But then you also have people who want you to be your best, but how is that then externalized? So one that gets you to be your best and your most. Imagine who you can become when you are in the company of such a leader. Imagine someone who has well-rounded intelligences. Maybe you've come across some leaders that are just fantastic technically, but when you want to discuss something very difficult, you're not getting an emotional response. I will be going through that in continuity. Imagine someone who is heart-centric and headstrong. Leadership is not something that just lives in the mental realm. Leadership first comes from the heart. Now, I can give you many answers as to why that is the case, but I would love for you to have a think about why leadership starts with the heart first. Imagine a leader that is moral and ethical with every one of their behaviors. Whether someone is watching, whether something is at stake, whether no one is watching, and whether nothing is at stake. But maintaining integrity to your own self and then externalizing that. Imagine a leader that has a clear vision for the future, that they are driving. IG has been driving for decades, and I'm sure he has decades in him still. And I'm sure it's also not getting smaller. And more, and it's his vision is like this vortex that brings in more people, and the ripple effect that happens. That is not a given characteristic. That takes time and deep intention of an individual to create that. A leader, imagine someone who has cultivated great self-awareness. Someone who communicates clearly and concisely. I was working for a company, this was during the COVID lockdowns, and look, people were getting laid off. Things were economically difficult. And the company sent out a newsletter that their record profits went down by 5%. It's like, we're really not emotional for you right now as you're sitting on billions and people are losing work. So that wasn't great, clear communication that really met the workforce where they're at. So again, these things are not a given. Imagine a leader that has courage to make bold decisions. This is why not everyone can or wants to be a leader, because it all ends with you. If 800 people need to be laid off from the company, you can't delegate that decision to anyone else. It rests on you. Imagine a leader that has adaptability and agility. Anything could happen tomorrow. Absolutely anything. If you really think about how reality runs, it's all quite absurd sometimes. So the responsiveness, the agility, and it's not only for worse, but also for better. A leader that can take feedback on personally and professionally. There are lots of egos when it comes to leaders, but one who can tame their ego is one who can really connect and understand and cultivate more of that self-awareness. Now, what I want you to think based on that characteristic, does anyone come to mind of that kind of leader. They can be past, present, historical. You don't have to have met them. They can be through history. Does anyone know any leader that fits this criteria? Maybe it's a parent. They don't have to be famous. Put it in the chat if anyone fits the criteria of such an exemplary, excellent, and exceptional leader. Of course, IG. We wouldn't be here otherwise. I didn't want to state the obvious. Yep. Who do we know? Through any point in history, in time, your grandpa? Yep, fantastic. Now, if no one came to mind, that's okay as well, because it shows you the opportunity that is present. Your father, yep. Amazing. Boss, pastors, yep. Anyone from religious communities. Now, you may not be able to come up with 10, but as you can see, there's not this massive list of people who really fit the mold of leadership in its highest expression. And the reason I went through this is to show you Mother's fantastic. Is to show you that you can be this person. It is a decision. It is a decision to have these characteristics. Oh, thank you, Ajili. That's very kind. Always one of the best. Yeah, fantastic. These people are the 1% of the 1% of anywhere you go. And it is up to you if that is the standard that you would like to be. Before we go into more of today's content, I want you to remember this as well. You can only bring out in another person what you already carry within yourself. I can only lead someone to the depths of my darkness and the height of my light that I have been within myself. I can only have someone create a career as good as one as I have. I can only take someone as far as I have gone. That's right, exactly. So if you do not, if you're a graduate and you're telling someone to start a business and you've never done that before, that's a disconnect. That's not operating out of a place of deep truth when it comes to leadership. It's the same as people saying, well, reach your potential. Well, of course, why would anyone want to not have that? But if you haven't done that yourself, then it's not leadership that's coming from a deep place of, I've been there and I have the battle scars and I have walked the path first. And this is really the key to a kind of travel agent. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Thank you, IG. That's fantastic. Yeah, there's so many travel agents. Just go on LinkedIn and you'll find them. But this statement and this perspective is here to encourage you to constantly venture and push your own container out, because then you can allow more people to be in that container with you. And this is when people will look at you and say, that guy or that girl, I'm going to go where they're going because they have done it. And this is one major factor that separates people who have embodied leadership and the wisdom that comes with it versus those that, as IG said, they'll just, here's the map, but I haven't walked it. There is a big difference. Before we go anywhere else, I may be connected with some of you on LinkedIn. I have been in the mentoring, training, and advisory space in construction. I've had the opportunity to work with people around the world to speak. If the thing that I could do for the rest of my life is right, then that's what I would do. And I'm a proud author of 4 books and across, and my previous show, Constructing You. Of course, please do go and listen to the iconic interview with IG himself. Now, what I would love for everyone to have, but there's a few things that I need you to do first, is you're going to get presents from CKL, but you need to be on until the end of this presentation. And you need to have your cameras on. The CKL team is watching. And if that criteria is met, then you will get a copy of Constructing Your Career and my latest anthology, Secrets of the Construction Industry, which of course I have the absolute pleasure of having IG himself write down his secrets that has allowed him to forge his own leadership, and he is the opening chapter of the book. So I don't think I've even had the opportunity to thank you, IG, right to, straight in your presence. So thank you so much. But this whole anthology is just paved in gold of insights and wisdom from people who have walked the path themselves and are giving you the exact keys and the exact steps and wisdom that they have taken. So you get presents. And the reason that we're doing this, and I appreciate the team at CKL affording this opportunity, is that the learning doesn't stop here. The learning absolutely doesn't stop here. It continues at 10 o'clock at night after you've worked all day and you're saying, I'm going to read this chapter. It continues when you're listening to another podcast and another podcast, and you're going to be part of CKL's mentoring. Leaders also do not stop learning. So we would love to give this to you, but the more you put in, the more you get out. Let's talk about some common leadership myths. Because for a very long time when I worked in construction, I was also fazed by these leaders who seemed to be these grandiose people up there somewhere else, and I down there somewhere else as well. And that this leadership, this lofty concept, was only reserved for others. So let's deconstruct some of the ideologies around leadership, because sometimes all what people need to do is just remove some of the trash that sits on top of their thinking, and their natural leadership ability is able to come through. So a common leadership myth is that leaders are born, not made. Yes, some people have stronger tendencies, stronger dispositions, higher risk profiles. Absolutely, not everyone is made the same. But whether you are a leader in your family unit, whether you are a leader in a relationship, in a friendship, or if you are a leader of a country, we do have varying degrees of leadership within us. But even the greatest artists, like Picasso, how many sketches would he have gone through? Michelangelo, the first time that he painted something was not his masterpiece. There is so much refinement that goes in, even if you have latent leadership potential. Like every master, they will spend a lifetime wanting to nail their craft. There is the misconception that you have to be an extrovert. I'm not loud. I can't talk to a stadium of 100 people. No, not at all. I, by nature, am an introvert, which people get confused about because I'm online and I put out a lot of content and I speak a lot. But all what this is about knowing how to manage your energy. Some people will charge by being around other people. Other people charge by being alone. So maybe today you consider yourself a shy person, or you do not have confidence in public speaking. They are not factors that limit you from being a leader. There is so much power in introversion in leadership as well. Oh, this one I could talk about for a whole hour, but I won't. Leadership is about power and authority. No, it is absolutely not. A leader is not one who then, I'm a leader, therefore I have power over you. No, no, no. No, leadership is not control. Leadership is not dominance. That is such a turnoff when it comes to leadership. Yes, you have more responsibility and you have more influence. It is about service, exactly. And service is not about, I have power, therefore I'm going to take yours away so I can have more of it. Absolutely not. That is what you call a dictator. And this is not what we're creating. So power and authority have their place, but they can be used for good. And they are earned. You need to earn the right to have that. But leadership is not about the acquisition of more and more power until your ego is power drunk. Leaders have to have all the answers. Impossible, or maybe it is possible, but also, why would you want to be the Google of everything? Because if you think that I need to know everything, then what about all the people around you that have so much creativity and wisdom and their own ideas that are just fantastic for the organization? You can't have all the leaders, all the answers, because even as a leader, you still have limited experience. You have your own paradigms. So you're not expected to know everything. So don't think that you need to know everything about everything before you say, I'll lead. Leadership equals management. Parts of a leader's role, sure, you do need to manage, but that is not what you do. And there are misconceptions between leadership and management, but you actually need to let the managers manage and let your leaders lead, and you eventually end up staying out of their way and being there for when they need you. That's exceptional leadership. Good leaders are always in control. I mean, it would be fantastic if all the plans always went well, but that doesn't always happen. And there is a pseudo notion that I have to be in control, because if I'm not in control, then that is a perception of weakness. I mean, you're not a god. So sometimes you will not be in control, and demonstrating that I'm not in a good space, but I know how to get there. It's that dance between vulnerability and credibility. And you allow other people to assist you as well. Allows you to also get stronger as a leader. And also think about something that if you're always trying to keep something so rigid, just a little bit of pressure, it will break. Rigidity is not always a good characteristic. A leader, yep, absolutely. Leadership is about seniority. No, no, no. This one is, again, I could talk about it for an hour. Some of you here may be 18. Some of you may be 50. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because your life journey, how you decide to expand your thinking. There can be people who work in corporate and they don't want to be a leader, which is fine, but they've been there for 30 years. And then maybe there's an 18-year-old who's lived a life and read so many books and can think. Why wouldn't they? Should they get the opportunity to lead? I would say yes. Of course, there's other factors at play. But corporate needs to have a structure, but the structure doesn't mean you cannot lead from the position that you are at. Just because someone is an executive also doesn't mean that they should be leading. Just because someone founded the company still doesn't mean they should be leading. But sometimes the graduate who comes in has the ability to lead in equal strides as someone else. leaders should never show weakness. This isn't to say that when you start your board meeting, you will talk about, I don't know, your relationship problems. No, that's not what is being alluded. But sometimes your company or your project will not be in a good position. Don't hide it. Or let's say someone on the team left and you're not doing well because of that. You're allowed to show that this has had an emotional impact on you. I've worked with people who are robots and it didn't make sense to me. Like, something bad just happened on site. Are you going, why aren't you reacting even for 5 minutes? They lost that human touch, that care and connection that is so essential. Us as humans, we're a social species. We need connection with other people. Leadership is a solo endeavor. Some of us here may have a paradigm, a script that is of hyper independence. I have to do it alone because I need to prove to I don't even know who that I have to do it alone. It is not done alone. We cannot create in a vacuum. We cannot unfold in a vacuum. We cannot build companies, teams, projects in a vacuum. We are, again, a social species. If you look back to, especially in the culture in your continent, community is essential and always has been. It's very different from the West, where even the architecture of the West is about division and isolation and separation. But we have always built civilizations as a humanity based on community, based on collaboration, based on leveraging another in order to create the common goal. And this is something that the West doesn't necessarily do too well. Again, some do, that is a generalization, but we are not created alone. Think about a baby. A baby can't raise itself alone. I mean, nothing happens alone. You go to school, there's teachers, you need mentors, we need elders. There are so many things that we need in order to become and really cultivate and nurture that leadership potential. Yeah, exactly, Matilda. We're not an island. And the last leadership myth is that we need to be perfect. Now, this is one that I had to deconstruct within myself because my paradigm said that I need to be perfect all the time and everything else needs to be perfect all the time. And I was exerting so much energy maintaining that perception of perfect, whereas that was not really as inspiring as it could be. Sometimes you do not have it all together. Sometimes things go pear-shaped and you're not okay. Sometimes things go so well and you actually want to express yourself, but you're told to tone it down and it's not good. You're told so many things, essentially. But perfection is not the goal. It's perfection is also not something that is sometimes rooted in a good place. Some people want to be perfectionists just to please other people, but we're not going to go into the behavioral side in so far. So there's a lot of myths around leadership, and I would recommend that you spend some time reflecting as to what are some illusions and limiting beliefs that I have around leadership, and actually assessing, are they true or are they not? Because they could be blocking you from saying yes to that next leadership opportunity or yes to creating something. Before we move on, have I explained all of this in a way that makes sense? And have we learned something? Ali says yes. Great questions. We'll take questions at the end as well. Yes, wonderful. Okay. So whilst there are many many skills, many skills that support the function of leadership. Leadership is a function. It is something that we do, and it is supported by a whole host of skills. And as much as I would love to go through so many with you, I'm going to focus on 3 today. Ones that I have found are not spoken about in so much, but also ones that when you seek to develop these, you will find the sub-skills that support this leadership development. So the first is self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to self-correct. I worked with a whole host of leaders and managers and just people in varying positions. And they were not able to identify that how they were communicating. Yes, thank you, IG. I'm just relying on the search engine that I hope I got the city right because I don't have a point of reference. So I'm glad I got that correct. And by the way, it is beautiful. I mean, if there is a continent that is undersold, it is Africa. And I've worked with leaders who they were not aware of the impact they were having on the individual in the moment. Now, what does that do? That creates a disconnect from the company. That creates a disconnect from the individual of themselves. If a manager is yelling and screaming and slamming doors, what is that doing to the company culture? They need to be aware of how they are carrying themselves. And we've got some scribbles on the screen. That is why even today I said, how are you going to turn on your camera? Are you aware that how you are choosing to show up is how other people also perceive you, and whether they will choose to trust you or listen to you or not? So much of self-awareness comes in, it's in the unsaid actions and behaviors of how you are carrying yourself. It's in the same measure here. I could be talking right now and what I could be saying could be so irrelevant. And if I'm not aware of that, then A, I'm wasting your time. B, I'm not delivering on what everyone promised. And C, well, that's not great for me at all. So it is being aware of yourself, but it's not being self-centered. There's a concept of focus out. So I could be aware of myself, but I'm not focusing on myself. I'm not thinking of me. I'm thinking of you. I'm paying attention to how the individual is, you know, if I'm talking, are their shoulders hunching over or are they standing up? So there is a difference. This is not asking you to be self-centered, but it is asking you to be aware of what's going on, but being able to project your energy and your intention on the other person. So when we're looking at self-awareness, of course, it is understanding what is going on with your own thoughts, your emotions. Are you able to identify within yourself, I'm really good at this, but I'm not good at this. So what that means is I need to give Nelson all of these things because I trust Nelson to do it. And I'm not going to try and micromanage Nelson. I need to just let it go. Self-awareness can be as simple as that. It is about asking yourself that when you're making a decision, what is the consequence of that decision? The universe is ruled by duality. There's cause and effect. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Nothing in this universe is inconsequential. So again, not having your cameras on, there is an equal opposite reaction to that. Being self-aware allows you to, you know, you might get, Mark might give me feedback, and sometimes people will have their ego just flared up and they will blame you. But being self-aware allows you to reflect and think, wow, in that situation, I could have communicated in a different way, and I behaved in a way that wasn't conducive to us having a win-win situation. So what do we need to start doing to support self-awareness? EQ is a skill unto itself. I'm aware that there are sub-skills and sub-skills, and again, just about everything could be put under leadership. But EQ is about understanding my emotional state, your emotional state. If I'm in this emotional state, let's say I'm angry of, I don't know, a contractor didn't do Y, and then someone comes and speaks to me. Now, most managers will just get angry at this person, but having emotional intelligence will tell you, I understand I'm angry right now, but I need to not project that onto this individual who may need compassion, who may need guidance. So being able to manage your emotions, know when to show it, when not to show it, and also understanding what the other person may be experiencing is key. Experience is great, but experience isn't as great as evaluated experience. So after today, I will think, well, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? Is there anything that I could have done better? If you aren't having any time throughout your day to have no technology, no disturbance, no interruptions, and you are simply sitting with your own thoughts, which is A, a luxury, and B, a rarity in today's hyper busy run world, you are missing out on insights. You are missing out on your own ability to cultivate that self-awareness. I did go through a period of around a year where I didn't even allow myself that time for introspection because I was scared of what I was going to find. Now, that's not a great strategy to just put the lid on everything. That's not going to work. So I do not recommend that. But even if you just craft out 10 minutes of time a day and there is no objective to it, you are simply sitting there. And maybe something did happen throughout the day. Maybe you did really well in something. Reflect on why that's the case. Maybe you wanted to get a job and you didn't get the job. Are you going to just sit down and think about your thinking? This is a key skill, which is thinking about your thinking. Mindfulness is about, as it suggests, is being in the present moment. Now, this is difficult to do. It sounds so simple, but how many times do you maybe go to a coffee with someone and their phone is right there and they're just waiting for a notification? Now, of course, sometimes you're waiting for calls and your boss needs you. We get it. But being able to have situational awareness and to say, this team member or this person needs me to just be here with them right now and nowhere else. And this is when you concentrate your energy and your intention on an individual, they feel that. You didn't even have to sometimes say anything, but they felt your energy and your presence because you were just with them in the moment. And that will allow you to pick up on things within yourself. That will allow you to pick up on things that your teammate, your colleague, your mum, anyone is saying. And it fosters, again, that much more richer, deeper connection. Instead of assuming what the other person is saying. Active listening, but also intense listening. Really listening to what the other person is saying. And this isn't listening to respond. It's like, yeah, you know how some people just want you to get to the end of the sentence just so they can say what they wanted to say. This is the kind of listening where you empty your mind. Forget everything you thought you knew of the person, of everything, and you purely listen without the filter of your perception, of your perspective. If people feel seen and heard in your presence as a leader, you don't even need to say the right thing or the best thing, but you've given them what they needed from you. Practicing these 4 will allow you to cultivate more self-awareness. With more self-awareness, you have deeper connections with your team or your family or any unit where you want to lead. Because if you do not understand the people around you, you will not be able to tell them to, or invite them, sorry, not tell them, invite them to come with you. Self-awareness is a precaution. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Lots of emojis. Thank you for the emojis. I love it. Second, and I'm taking the ticks on screen as a good thing. Intelligence. Now, this is something that is not typically spoken about when in the context of leadership, but also how rare is intelligence. Now, people think that intelligence is only left brain thinking. It's logic and it's analysis. But the Latin derivative of intelligence is both logic and an analysis, but also creation and imagination. Someone who is smart conventionally, sure, they may be able to tell you the textbook off by heart, but can they create? Do they have multiple types of intelligence? And that's why I wanted to speak to you about this, because intelligence isn't something that most people take the time to unpack what it actually means. Different psychological models have different models of intelligence. There is analytical intelligence. So if the concrete has not reached its strength and the steel's being delivered tomorrow, we need to analyze this. We need to think, okay, there is a logical error, there has to be a logical conclusion. The computer's not working. It's like, okay, I can, do some logical steps. This is analytical intelligence. Creative intelligence. This whole workshop, this whole event was IG's creative intelligence at play. There's young people who need this kind of exposure to wisdom and knowledge so they can upskill, so they can contribute to society, to family, to their world, whatever's in their world. This was born out of creation energy. This isn't logical. Nothing like this has been done before. Nothing like this on this scale has been done before. This isn't CKL's bread and butter per se. So this is creation energy. It's a different type of intelligence. And then there's practical intelligence. Don't go down the dark alley at midnight by yourself with no phone in a strange city. It's practical intelligence. I was at the public library 2 weeks ago, and it must have been exam time because it was very busy. And we were sharing a table, and the girls that sat across us got up for lunch and they left their laptop on the table. Now, I would never do that. Sure, there were security cameras. Sure, we would not steal their laptop. But even if there was a security camera, the pain of having to buy a laptop, find your laptop, get all your files, that wasn't very practical. It wasn't street smart. It's not common sense. But I want to go into more details of the 7 levels of intelligence. This is a combination model from Christopher Hills and Dr. Max Lucia. Dr. Max Lucia talked about color psychology, and Christopher Hills talked about how this relates to our 7 layers of intelligence and how we function in the world. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you is you will come across leaders who are really good at, let's say, being the show person. They can put on a good show, But if you have a very difficult problem in the business, they have no idea. Now, it doesn't mean they need to know the exact solution, but can they think? Even you need to think, I need to ask that person. So physical intelligence, this is our ability to know how we operate on a basic level in society. As a leader, you need to take care of your health. You need to have energy. I remember going to a talk, and this person had a $50 million company, but they were on stage, they were sweating, they were talking, and they were breathing so heavily. It's like, this isn't the image of great leadership, ability in your health. How you present yourself. You do not need to wear designer, but you need to be, clean cut and just presentable. This is all very basic, very grounded types of intelligence. Then we have social intelligence. So this also relates to cultural intelligence. The Japanese have certain ways of doing business, as you have certain ways of doing business, as people in Dubai have certain ways of doing business. There are underlying factors in culture, so it's cultural awareness. It's going into a room and knowing, well, how come everyone's sad? Then I need to understand why. So it's understanding what is happening in the interactions between other people. And of course, cultural intelligence, which is very important in today's world, not just for business, but for you building your own network and respecting that there are cultural layers to where we all come from. Some people, like the Japanese culture, are very sensitive to this. So we do not want to actively disrespect anyone, of course, especially when it comes to their culture. Intellectual intelligence, which is yellow. So can you look at all sorts of bodies of information? Sometimes this information may not correlate. But when you look at all of this disparate information, are you able to say, okay, I need this, but not this. I need these numbers, and I need this numbers in this model so I can make an investment, or I can say, this is how we're going to fund the project. So this is where you're looking at it more from a mechanical, sequential, structural way. So a project. Concrete needs to go up before steel. This is all quite methodological. And there's really your intellect and your logic that needs to come into play. Green, emotional intelligence. So we spoke about that a little bit beforehand, but when do I need to be firm but fair? To a team member who has come to work late for a month. Now, maybe they have a sick parent or child at home and they are trying their best to get to work. Am I going to yell at them? No, that's awful. But if they're coming late because they're just lazy, then a different approach is required. So I won't spend too much time on EQ as we've spoken about that. Conceptual intelligence, blue. So when I write a book, I need to create a container, a new structure to put all this information in. That hasn't been done before. That is conceptualizing something. This conference was a conceptual practice first. How do you get all of these speakers to talk about different things and make it flow and connect for the audience? We needed to, CKL built a mental model around this and then fit all the pieces together. So you use your conceptual thinking where you say, I've created a business. Great. Now I need marketing. Where does marketing go? I need people, so on and so forth. Intuitive intelligence. This the higher up in leadership that you go, you will need to tap more and more into your intuitive knowing. Sometimes you see decisions that are against the market, or you hire the person who does not look great on paper, but they are the next best thing in the organization. This is a knowing. You just know that this is what needs to be done. And you may not have all logical systems to prove to you. You don't even have the evidence. You know, with this conference, was there any evidence to suggest that it would be successful? No, because it hasn't been done before with this team, in this climate, in all of the varying factors. It hasn't been done before. Even CKL, you know, to build a business based on ethics and morality in every single step of the way in your socio-political climate hasn't been done before to this scale. No. But the intuition, the knowing, is why we all get to be here today. And then imaginative intelligence. The beautiful thing that we all have, and it doesn't have anything to do with leadership, but we can create without limitations. Creation without limitation is a special kind of power that we have as humans. Sometimes you see people and you ask them, how did you come up with this? I just got the idea. It just downloaded into me. There's no logic as to where it came from. But this is a kind of intelligence that deals with invention and innovation and doing things because you can see things that haven't existed. This is where vision comes from. Now, of course, there are sub-practices that go into cultivating each one of these intelligences. But I encourage you to really sit with this model, because to be a leader, you can not only be imaginative, but if you cannot execute anything, then you are a dreamer. If you can only have intellectual intelligence, then you might be a great manager, but where's the vision? You might have 70% of this, but if you are a leader who has no physical intelligence and you're wearing, I don't know, thongs and a t-shirt, maybe that's a given, I'm just talking generally. But if you're not carrying yourself in a way that looks like you respect yourself, then other people may not respect you. So when we talk about well-rounded leaders, it takes 7 types of intelligences to get to a point of being well-rounded. Now, do you need to be perfect? No. Will we get it wrong? Yes. Will we forget some of this? Absolutely, yes. But the thing is, without a map of where we need to develop ourselves, then you just, okay, I'm going to be a leader, but maybe I'm really good at some things and I'm not so good at the others. So I need to work on it to have reasonable competency, and maybe I can delegate the rest. Again, it depends on the context. Delegation, of course, is a big thing, but I won't go into too much detail here. But it does go back to that leadership myth of doing everything alone. Absolutely not. You can have 70% of this and you can have a right-hand man or woman who picks up the rest. That's absolutely fine. Now, the last skill is one that is very important, and every book that I write starts with this, because without vision, where are we going? We aren't going to go very far. This is not just vision. It can be a company, project. It can be for your family. It's a vision for yourself. And at the start, I asked, why is a heart-centered vision so important? Because vision doesn't come from the mind. It doesn't come from our eyes. It comes from our heart. That is a vision that has longevity. The fact that IG still talks about his vision like the day it was conceived after decades is so rare, because it's not a mental construction. It's come from a very deep place within. because only the heart has that much fire. Only the heart can generate that much heat and fire to keep a vision alive. A mental vision doesn't have the same velocity and ferocity to stand the test of time. Sure, we can have a vision for a year, but to have a vision for 50 years, whew, that is something else. That is a league of its own. Even just setting out like Seek Out to build something that was not a 10-year thing, it's not even a 30-year thing, it's a 100+ year project vision. That time doesn't even matter when you have a vision that big. It's going to last. Without a vision, you will find, I'm sure you have all worked in organizations or you've been around people, that it's just the same thing over and over again. And people need to believe in something. It's how the mind works. If you go to work and there is nothing to believe in, you're out the door. So your ability to generate a vision even for yourself, what does Mark want to be like? What does Sarah want to be like? Who is Lady Tamara in 5 years from now? Even in 6 months from now, pick a point into the future. Who does Alice want to be? Who does Lagos want to be? Who does Ali want to be? And Muhammad? Who do you want to be in an arbitrary point of time in the future? This is absolutely key. The vision is here for the focus and direction. Imagine you're a captain of a ship and everyone's looking at you and you have no idea where we're going. I mean, that's one hell of a cruise. And sure, it might be fun for some time, but it's not fun after a while because we're not in alignment. I'm not connecting to where you're going. I'm not going to give you my energy and attention if I don't believe in your vision. When we're building, some days it's just mechanical and it's work. It's work in there. There is no antidote to work. But if we're just working without vision, without inspiration, then you yourself will not be fulfilled. It will be meaningless. It will be pointless. We need the vision to see how things can be done differently. This conference will look different next year, like what the team's doing with mentoring. That is an expansion of the vision. If we do not have a vision, then we aren't allowing ourselves to entertain that creative intelligence and think it could be different. How? Now, this, of course, doesn't mean innovation for innovation's sake. No, that's, let's change something just because. That's not a good enough reason. Vision is about cohesion. If I like your vision, I'll be on your team. But if someone doesn't like your vision, you don't want them on your team. So it separates, and that's fine. That person might be better suited to a vision which is more aligned with theirs. It's all good. No one's taking offense. But when you have a vision, you know that people around you are the ones that believe in it too. So just before we go into questions, and we're just on time, vision is not something that happens automatically. And you can mentally construct anything. You can say, I'm going to build a big company and it's going to do this. And I'm going to have 50 people working for me. I mean, sure. But is that what the heart is asking of you as well? Is that what the heart is wanting you to drive from? So don't think that vision comes from the eyes, and it doesn't come from the mind, but it comes from a deep place within your heart. But to connect to that space within yourself goes back to that mindfulness, that reflective thinking. Your big vision, and not even if it's big, your vision will not come through the busyness and the run of everyday life. You will need to detach from the day-to-day and also individually with yourselves, understand how do you get inspired? Some people get inspired through listening to other people speak. Others get inspired by going out to nature. Others get inspired by writing, by singing, by painting, by running, by whatever it is. Know how you individually connect to your inspiration and what inspires you, and that will allow you to conceive your own vision. Even for you individually, without your own vision, other people are going to tell you how to run your life, how to do this. You should do this. You need to have this. Your own vision is absolutely imperative. Some of you may only need permission. You have your vision. Others, this may be the first time this concept is even coming into your arena. It doesn't matter how long it takes to conceive it or to build it, but it is something that is pivotal for you to have. Because without it, then it really does beget the question, where am I going as an individual, and how do I know that I want to be part of your vision? So vision is, of course, absolutely imperative. So, of course, we do now have time for Q&A. And there were some questions in the chat beforehand. So can you get the slides? I think this recording is being distributed. If I'm not mistaken, the team can answer that. So that will be answered. And in terms of questions, if anyone has any questions, then of course, please put them in the chat. I'm just looking up to Alani's question. Good leaders are always in control. How do you control without exerting authority when your integrity and competence are about to be jeopardized by your subordinate? That is a great question, and there is lots happening in that question.
Yes, this
Oh, hi,
meeting will
Bethel. Oh,
be
sorry, that was you,
being
Bethel. Sorry,
recorded.
Bethel. Yes, Bethel.
Will be distributed.
Bethel, you there? Should I
Hello.
continue with Q&A, Bethel?
I think she's muted.
I'll just continue with Q&A. So at times you will need to take control of a situation and make that final executive decision. You may have already consulted everyone. You've had the discussions, and you do need to make a decision. But that is done after a process of, let's say, consultation and investigation. But flexing your authority is just saying, no, I'm doing this and I don't care what anyone else thinks. That's more tyrannical behavior. So you do have the authority for a reason, because it comes with the responsibility of making tough decisions, of whether it's allocating resources, of knowing which project to go for, of maybe even on an individual level saying, no, I can't work for this company. So yes, authority can be exerted and it needs to, but it also reflects how it is done. If it is done in a way as I'm doing this and I don't care what happens next, that's not how we exert authority. And yes, your integrity and competence is on the line. IG, is there anything you'd like to add?
I just want to ask a question. Elena, thanks to see you again. Were you online when I spoke?
No.
So can anyone see the similarities between what I said and what she has talked about? All these things you talked about leadership, I spoke for about 15 minutes and I touched on some of them, about a leader being a good listener, about not being tyrannical, all that I talked about. So it's amazing that being a good leader It's not rocket science. There are things that go with being a good leader. I mean, it's just so interesting and it's so similar. I mean, you can hear from them. We spoke about pretty much the same thing. I mean, what I spoke about was all embedded in what you have spoken about. It's interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, IG. And look, these are universal principles. I didn't invent this, and I'm thrilled to hear that there's similarities because IG runs on principles, not belief systems. And when you operate under principles, which are time-tested and have one method of interpretation, you cannot go wrong. It is where beliefs confuse leadership. Ojo, how do you identify that which inspires you? Do you look at someone? That's a great question, Ojo. Do you look at someone's results and go, wow, I wonder how they did that? Fundamentally, if you look at a person's life journey, results, behavior, do you have an emotional reaction that uplifts you? Do you meet that person with curiosity and go, wow, how do they do this? How did they get to such a point? How did they overcome all of these challenges? Are you met with an emotional reaction? Are you met with curiosity? And do you see yourself emulating or doing something akin to what they have done? It's a great question. Ali, my question is that how does emotional intelligence contribute to successful leadership? And what are the ways leaders can improve their emotional intelligence? Daniel Goleman has written a few great books on EQ. Think about a time where you wanted to have a conversation with someone. Maybe it was mother, father, sister, husband, wife. It doesn't have to be a boss. And you wanted to be understood. You were maybe struggling, or you needed help, or you needed resources, or you needed something to change. And you went to the other person and they just shut it down. They didn't understand. They were like, no, Ali, that's silly. You're being silly. You're being this, you're being that, you this, you that. That doesn't make you feel heard, understood. Now imagine that on a leadership context. I had that for quite some time where I worked on a toxic project and I was banging my head against the wall trying to get them to understand that I'm not thriving here. I don't like the politics. I want to move projects, but they were just thinking that I was just making all this up and I just need to sit down and shut up and do my work. My health deteriorated. So many things deteriorated. So those people were not able to see that them not understanding my emotional state and where I was coming from was impacting my performance at work. So if you see someone who is not performing at work, let's say I'm your coordinator and I'm not working and I used to be really good. What happened? So as a leader, if you seek to understand the underlying emotional fabric of what's going on, it will allow you to lead, to put in strategies, to understand where the disconnect in performance has happened. Otherwise, you'll just, Eleanor, work harder. It's like, I'm trying, but I'm not able to. And what ways can leaders improve their EQ? I think starting with relevant books and podcasts is fantastic. Asking questions is fantastic in learning how to do it. So let's say I come up to you, let's say you're my manager, Ali, and I say, Ali, I'm not happy here and I don't like it. So you could ask me why, and then I'll give you an answer, and you'll ask me why again. Instead of, Eleanor, this is the best project you have ever worked on. You should be so grateful to be on this project. Go back to work. So a curiosity is huge when it comes to understanding another person. childlike curiosity. Why? Why is that the case? Why could this be? So I think they are good places to start, but a practice. So maybe you have a friend, Ali, that you can just have make-believe scenarios like I just gave that allows you to practice in a safe space and also get the feedback loop. That's not a real life scenario of I'm dealing with this right now in real life. So I hope that gives you insight, Ali. You're nodding. Thank you, Ali. Sarah, your question is, sometimes when I ask my boss questions concerning construction, he asks me to Google it. Well, that's not great. It's like, have you asked ChatGPT? That's not great at all. So, Sarah, there's a few things happening here. Number one, that boss doesn't seem to have all levels of intelligences. So I would really be looking and wondering, how much can you learn from this person? Depending on where you are in your career, you want to be around people where you can learn from them. And going to Google it is not the answer. So I would challenge this boss respectfully. Do you not know the answer? Is there anything else I can do other than Googling it so I can learn? The problem with Googling, you don't even know if the answer is correct. You just get what's the most popular SEO version. I could, when people Google their symptoms and now they have all their illnesses, how do you know which one is correct? It could be none of them. So I would respectfully challenge, but I would also seek to speak to other stakeholders, whether it's the engineer, the architect, the subcontractor, even another project team, if you can. I would seek other people, not Google, to get the answer. So from your perspective, how can you be more resourceful with everyone you have around you if you're working on that project? So I hope that helps, Sarah. Lady Tamara, when there is a change in the course of executing the vision, how do you get the buy-in of different stakeholders? That's a great question. Buy-in is huge. And sometimes the vision does change. People want to know why things have changed and what does this mean for them. This is where the skills of change management and communication really do lend itself to doing this. Fundamentally, not everyone likes change. So why is this change happening? And also, what is the new vision? Paint the picture for them. Show them how good it is going to get and why this needs to happen. What risks are being mitigated? When you're talking to people, not everyone NLP. So everyone thinks in different ways. So some people are visual thinkers. Some people are kinesthetics. Some people are auditory. So talking to people in ways that they speak and how they see the world is important to help that connection. So I'm a visual person. So you need to show me how it's going to look. Don't just give me a balance sheet. I won't connect with that. So connecting with how other people see the world is key when you are translating a vision, especially during change, because change does happen. But also giving people the space to ask questions and to understand why has this happened? Why is this happening? And allowing a high level of transparency as much as possible in order to get different people on board. If there is resistance, then take that person out of the group situation if this was a group. And again, it's now using other layers of skills like EQ to understand, why is this person resisting? Maybe they're scared of losing their job if this happens. So, or maybe they think they're going to have too much work and they wanted to tell you that they're going to Europe in 2 months. So there's resistance. So how can you diffuse that resistance? Why is a coach usually fired for the team's failure? After he has done all he can, instructed and inspires a team, if the team goes ahead to fail, it's usually seen as a leadership failure and the leadership is fired for it. Is this the best approach? That is a great question, Mark. works, context matters. At the end of the day, as leaders, we do need to drive results. We do get assessed for our results. Sometimes the person who founded the company isn't the best person for the company anymore. Doing what is best for company, best for business is a massive thing. Like, you started the company, you don't want to walk away from it, but what about if the company's suffering? What's more important here? So leaders are still responsible, and their reputation, they are responsible for results. Because at the end of the day, there's 100 people who need to go home with a salary. There are stakeholders who have commercial investments associated with this. We do live in an economic world, and that is a consideration. So if the results are not there and a leader is not taking responsibility and they are misusing resources, so they've used all this money and they still don't generate results, well, a decision does need to be made. We need someone who can use, this is the resources, this is the latent ability of the team. We need someone who can work with what we have to get what we want. This is a big part of being entrepreneurial as well, is you don't have unlimited resources. You can't say, yes, I can get the team to the finals if I can have $100 million budget, but we only have $50 million. What are you going to do? So as an entrepreneur, you need to work with the resources that you have available. And if you are not able to meet those outcomes, then you may not be the best person that is fit for purpose for the team, the project, and that means that sometimes people do need to be respectfully let go. Have you ever come across any situation where your decisions are challenged by your superiors? You're always going to get challenged. And that's the fun of it. Because it challenges you. It challenges your own thinking. It highlights things that maybe you did not consider. It highlights maybe things that you didn't think of. So being challenged is fantastic. And having a relationship with being challenged is also really important, because not everyone likes it, because it's a threat to their ego. So knowing that a challenge, having a healthy relationship with being challenged is great. Some people may need more information. Some people may be challenging you because of politics, which is a whole other game. So understanding where the resistance is coming from. Are they simply scared? Do they need more facts and logic and numbers and spreadsheets? Sure, I can give you that. Are they challenged because they think that my authority is going to take their authority? Well, now we're playing a different game. So it comes back to understanding. It's that social awareness. Why am I getting that resistance? Am I going to welcome the resistance? Yes, because I can either refine my decision, I can either learn, I can improve on how I'm going to execute it. So they're the key things that I would look for. Being challenged is fine, but can you either back up your decision? Do you need to change your decision? How does the environment play a significant role in leadership? Our environment, and I hope I answered your question, Lagos. Lady Tamara, how does the environment play a significant role in leadership? Our environment currently doesn't encourage these leadership skills. How can one implement these leadership skills in a toxic environment without being branded a nonconformist and hence should leave the system? Story of my life, Lady Tamara. That is a great question. Environment is massive. Sometimes, imagine a fish. You can be a goldfish, but if the tank is murky and muddy, can one goldfish change the whole tank? No. Sometimes the goldfish needs to go into cleaner waters with other goldfish. It needs more than one person to change the system. But also, this is also a cultural question. So if the executive team, if they're the ones putting in the poison and the muck, then you from the bottom up, pumping out clean water, it's not going to work. Fundamentally, this is a cultural, structural issue. It won't change. Now, I'm not saying that to be a defeatist, but culture is huge when it comes to environment. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I forget who said that. Might be Jim Rohn. You can Google that. So environment and culture is massive. You know, look at family systems. Some families are not going to change, and you can't change them. And the best thing you can do for yourself to shine, and sometimes even just to survive, is to leave. But you are also invited in that environment. Sure, sometimes you can't leave because there are no jobs. There's sometimes so many things are at play. How can you make sure that every decision you make is to your own integrity and you are not compromising on any moral and ethical bounds? How can you make sure that every step of the way you maintain your own leadership standards? How can you uphold your own, again, integrity without feeling demoralized? Sometimes it is not about asking anyone else to change, but focusing on the only thing you can change, which is yourself. But if the environment itself is toxic, it still begets the question, how much can one person change? Your particular question, is there a particular style a leader should adopt? I don't love styles because it puts people into categories. Some people, when we look at styles, I naturally have my personality, my energy naturally leads in a certain way. Then certain times you will have to be more autocratic or more laissez-faire per se. So what I would encourage you, Naomi, is to first look at what is your authentic leadership disposition. Then understanding certain contexts will require you to pick up different tools from your toolkit to lead in a different way. It's a bit outdated, those models. It's like, you have to be an autocratic leader. It's like, no, situational awareness and context really matters. But at the same time, knowing your own leadership. Some people are the visionaries. They are the ones that say, go over here. And then we have other leaders that they best lead from the back. Walt Disney and a testament. Everyone knows Walt Disney, but not everyone knows his brother. And I forgot his name, which is a testament to the saying. Roy Disney. Roy Disney was the one who made a lot of the magic actually happen. Walt Disney had the vision, but Roy Disney was the one who made it happen. He was still a leader. He was not the visionary. He was the integrator. There is a book called Rocket Fuel, which talks about the different positions of leadership, but it's not about the style. My question is, how does one handle a boss who is always hiding information and having the mindset that the subordinate will take over his job? That's a great question, Priscilla, and that happens so often. That is one insecure leader. And that is not a boss who is confident and is so easily threatened. So this is where you may need to manage up and say, look, I need this information. I don't actually want your job, but I do need to get my own job done. Or getting them to see that if we had this information, do you not think it would make you look even better? So sometimes showing people that in order to get what you want, you need to help them get what they want. They seem, maybe they're power hungry. It's like, you will look even better if you actually share the information. We don't want your job, but you will look better if we all look better as a team. It's like, I don't want your work. but I do need to get my own done. Thank you, Ajaya. I appreciate that. Question. A is self-aware of his, A is self-aware, it's a scenario. A is self-aware of his strength in calculation, but decides at some point to become proficient in an area of weakness. What is the place of self-awareness in taking up challenges it doesn't align? That is a great question. It's easier to strengthen a strength than it is to strengthen a weakness. So sometimes as part of your role, yes, you will need to do things that are not so great. So if you have to write a report, okay, well, A, I'm not great at this. I like numbers more than words. B, understand that this may take you more time than the person sitting next to you. So allocating more time. You might need to do more research. So you might need to look at 10 other company reports before you can write your own. Then you might need to just write some part of it and then get feedback. So getting a positive feedback loop that you're on the right direction with this. There are tools. So, you know, Google can help or ChatGPT can help. What is a great way to say, please find attached or Grammarly? So you can use tools. The tools are there to help you. The tools are not there to do your work. So you might only get the report writing up to reasonable competency. It's like, I can do it, but it takes me double the time as someone else and I don't love it. You're not going to master it. You're not going to try to get any quicker at it. You're not going to make it perfect. It's fit for purpose. Whereas your strength in calculations, you might be interested in coming up with spreadsheets and tools and different models and all of these things because it's easier to strengthen a strength. So the place of self-awareness is recognizing I'm not great at this. I will get it to meet, I will meet the minimum standards, but I'm not about to go past it. Versus I'm excellent at engineering calculations and I'm going to be the best at this. And everyone in the company is going to know that I'm the best at calculations. And because I'm the best, then I'm going to tell my manager, hey, can you get someone to do the reports for me? I hope that answered your question. HBS, yes. And HBS is a great resource for articles and contributions as well. Thank you, IG. Different leadership styles. So I've spoken about them. I won't talk to the theory because it's available online, but you will be better strength in your leadership when you are leading based on your natural disposition. When you are being all of who you are and you're not trying to be someone else. Don't copy me. Don't copy IG. Don't copy Ali. Don't copy. It's not you. So I won't so much talk to the leadership styles. How can leaders foster a culture of innovation and creativity within their teams? A big part is respecting other people's ideas. So sometimes you might have someone in your team who's come up to you and they had an idea. Don't shut it down. When you shut down people's ideas, even if they're not great, but it doesn't matter, they had an idea. So when someone comes to you and they have an idea, great. How can we build on that? What about if we do this? I think that's a great idea, but could you go and think about this, 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 and this, and then we can discuss it so you can foster it. It's also about, sometimes it's even about having a section in the meeting minutes that says new ideas. Does anyone have new ideas? There is a space for it in your team. It's also, depending on what you're working on, you can encourage people to go do research. You can encourage people to simply speak their mind. You might have half an hour on a Friday afternoon where you sit around and we share ideas on where the roadblocks are and how we can create better solutions. So I think as a leader, you're creating the container and you allow the people to think and swim in it. That's sometimes all you need to do is to create the container and have the direction of where we're thinking towards. I hope that answers Heritage. How do you manage team members who adapt very slowly and don't want to learn? So there's two things there. Some people are slow learners. It doesn't mean they don't want to learn. But if they fundamentally do not want to learn, then it goes back to their cultures and their value alignment. Are they value aligned? If someone fundamentally does not want to learn, are they the best person on your team? Sometimes they may not be. Is that the kind of values and culture that you want to promote? How do you delegate tasks? Depends on the task. Sometimes you can't delegate and you need to get your work done. It's about understanding that my time is worth doing X. I can't be doing this level task. I need to give it to the graduate to do. So if you're a leader, you need to be thinking big picture, vision, inspiring people. And if you're sitting there printing a register, that's not worth your time. You're actually misusing company resources when you mismanage your time that way. So it's looking as to where can I apply myself that will get the most outcomes for the project, the company, and the like. And then also looking at some people in the team may want more technical work. It's like, well, here you go. Let's work on this technical project together so that they feel more included and they're getting the work that they done and you don't have as much work, but you are still responsible. And that is the end of the questions. CKL team, I've gone a little bit over time for Q&A. We can go on or not, but I appreciate all your questions. And it was wonderful to have your cameras on as well. And I would love to also connect with you on LinkedIn. I am Eleanor Moshe, and I would love to hear any takeaways that you got. And of course, I commend you all for choosing to be here. The fact that you made a choice to be here and dedicate your intention over the whole program is a testament that you are seeking for more. And to see young people who are seeking for more and are challenging themselves and are saying, teach me, is such a formidable characteristic in today's world as well. So well done to you all. I, of course, wish you all the best of success. Shall you get to experience all that the industry has to offer, and that you continue surrounding yourself with those who can teach you and guide you, but definitely not impress themselves onto you, but allow you to be the most and the best. And of course, I hope that this has served as inspiration and value to you along your journey. It is an honor to be here with CKL and of course the foundation to be able to deliver this. So thank you all so very much for your attention and your value all the same. And I will hand back over to the team to wrap up and do as they need.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you so much for that fantastic session on leadership. Thank you. Thank you. Let me begin to see in the comment section. Thank you, Elena. Thank you. And also let me know your take home from today's session with Elena. Let's see it in the comment section. Thank you, Elena. You know, I think Nigerian politicians have to be coached by you so that they don't just hit the ground running without experience and these principles.
Oh, Tara, I didn't hear you. Tara, I didn't hear you. You are hitting the ground running. I didn't hear you.
Well, I can also assure you that you've effectively trained more than 100 leaders in today's training, and they are going to definitely make you proud, Elena. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm already seeing in the comment section what people's take home are. Thank you. Let's see the comment section. What your take home is for today.
It's amazing. It's just amazing how, like we said, how common these things are. I mean, I can, whatever, everything you talked about resonates with me because it's something I've lived. And like I spoke to them before you came in, I said, some of what I practice is a gift. It's just innate in me, but some I learned along my journey. So it's exactly what you said. Some people have it in them. We are born leaders, while some also learn along the way. And John Maxwell has said this many times. It's easier to learn what you're good at than to try to learn what you're not good at. It's going to take you 1 hour to move from 70 to 80 than to move from 20 to 25. You understand? Because you're already good at it. So what you're good at, you do. And then what you're not good at, you delegate. You look for help. That's the way I run my business. I acknowledge that I have specialists around me, and I seek their opinion in areas where I'm not strong. And you know what I learned in business school? People around you know your weaknesses more than you think. So don't try to pretend that you don't have. We all have our weaknesses. So come up front with your weaknesses and say, you know what, Elena, I'm not good at this. Please take care of this for me, right? Than to pretend that you are good at it and each time you bungle it. You understand? So it's important, come up front with your weaknesses and get people to support you in the areas of your weaknesses. And then where you're strong, you continue to thrive and do well. I mean, it's just, we have so much in common. Maybe that's why we wrote the book together, right?
One of many,
So
but we'll see. But again, you live and breathe what you practice, and it's obvious. And as you shared, some things are innate, some things are learned, but it is the principles that you abide by, and you can't go wrong when you operate from, as you do, IG, from such a heart-centric place and very headstrong. And that is a combination that is rare, but can be cultivated, as can everyone here as well. So, and how everyone speaks of you, that is not a given. I have never met anyone who speaks, like everyone I meet speaks so highly of you, no matter how long the interaction is. And you have not been doing this for 5 minutes. You've been doing this for decades and going strong. So witnessing your leadership in action is outstanding. And as has everyone here had the opportunity to witness that in action, it's it's the proximity. We don't have access to people like this in our everyday world. It's not a given. So this has been phenomenal for me to be here and share the screen with everyone. So thank you.
Thank you once again, Elena. Thank you. All right, to move forward, I promise that one of our partners, Dr. Israel Oyedare, will be taking his presentation immediately after Elena's session. So Dr. Israel Oyedare, but before we have Dr. Israel Oyedare, let me quickly say this, that the Kaiser Foundation team will be sending out a poll so that you can vote. And immediately after Dr. Israel Oyedare, we're going to be having a breakout session for networking, So what you're going to do in that breakout session is you're going to, drop your LinkedIn handles and then speak with people, interact with people, because you never can tell who the next president, who the next governor is, or the next president or governor may actually be in your breakout session as well. So that will be coming up after the poll and then after Dr. Israel's presentation. All right, let's just quickly take the poll now.
Please, can you share LinkedIn handles online for them to connect with us? Eleanor's LinkedIn handle and mine. Okay, please share them online so that people can connect with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank
The
you.
learning is continuous. It doesn't end today.
Yeah. So the Kaiser team should please send it to the general chat room, Elino and IG's LinkedIn handle, so that they can connect with Elino and IG on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. All right, so right about now, we'll call on Miss Dr. Israel to take his presentation. Over to you now, Dr. Israel, for your presentation. If you can hear me, Dr. Israel.
All right. Hi everyone again. My name is Israel, and I want to seize this opportunity to say a very big thank you to IG for the investment in youth and investment in the social capital or social skills of the youth. Also, thank you to Elino for the amazing and insightful session. So over the last 7 years, I founded a non-profit organization called Teens and Youth in Leadership that is specialized in continuous leadership education of youth, both at the secondary and post-secondary school level. So far, we have reached out to, or we have trained over 100 post-secondary school youth. These post-secondary school youth include young professionals, individuals in their tertiary education, and we have also reached out to over 1,000 high school students across Africa. Now, our focus has been leadership education, hence we have programs that cut across three spheres. First, we have the TYF Fellowship, that's the Teens and Youth in Leadership Fellowship, that occurs every year and is more specialized in teaching leadership, the practical aspect of leadership to African youths. We also have the YALS program, which is the Young Aspiring Leadership Scholars, that teaches leadership theories and research-based leadership skills to young Africans. And the last one is the Lead Smart project. In the last 7 years also, we have had amazing impact. For example, we have Millennium Anthony, who is a Tanzania that is actively involved in teaching and training the less privileged and women in ICT. Millennium currently works with the UN, and she mentioned that she has practiced the skills she gathered from the TYF Fellowship program to be able to speak and interact with people and also lead in our community. Another example of impact we have had is in the life of Emmanuel Aroweson, a UNILAG student who recently founded a for-profit organization that is targeted at solving the issue of jaundice among children in Africa. And recently he was actually given the opportunity to travel to Kenya to pitch his idea. And the third example I would give is Emmanuel Ojo. Emmanuel Ojo is currently in the United States undergoing his master's degree. Prior to coming, he enrolled in the TYF Fellowship program. And it was through that fellowship program he discovered that he could actually interact with other people. And he got opportunities to actually travel, opportunities and information on how he could enhance his leadership development by traveling to the United States. So the end goal of what we actually do is to ensure that Africa develops into a stage where we understand the nitty-gritty of leadership. And we teach courses such as climate education, we teach courses such as elements of leadership, building successful team, building a multicultural communication lifestyle. So this is basically what we do at TYL. And like I mentioned, the TYL Fellowship, which is our annual training, is targeted at bringing in young professionals who are in their post-secondary school stages. For secondary school students, we have a strategic goal of reaching out to secondary school students who are also known as high school students over the next 10 years. And we'll be talking to them and teaching them core leadership skills that would be helpful for them to actually make impact in their society. Also, we'll be investing in their climate change understanding. So climate change is big for us. These are the various things we do at TY. If you're going to, for you to know more about what we do, I'm going to post our website and LinkedIn profile shortly after this discussion. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Israel, for that presentation. Okay, so now the Kaiser Foundation team are going to be distributing us to different breakout rooms so that we can begin to network. Don't forget to drop your LinkedIn handle and connect with yourselves in your respective breakout rooms.